Made me realize I do have people that care about me, even if they don't know me. To live a good, healthy, sober life, you must want it. I have to change my mindset. No more excuses, no more thinking negatively. Even though I am currently incarcerated, I'll never settle for the present because I know my future is limitless. Being incarcerated works for a lot of people because you suffer here from all kinds of things. Being away from family, some suffer from their addictions, but in order to grow, you must suffer. Being here suffering in my own ways made me grow into a better me I didn't know existed. This is why prisons were made, right? It's not supposed to be easy. If it was easy, it wouldn't be worth having them or sending people here. Nothing should be easy. If it's easy, it's not going to be worth it. I have also completed the voices that was added to my OEP, and I gained a lot from this program. It helped me with realizing the bigger picture of the people impacted by their crimes or anyone's crimes or actions. It's bigger than just me and my victim, because there's always more than one person who goes through or is afflicted from the crimes we commit. I'm ready and studying my path to change. I'm ready to learn from others through their knowledge and experiences because it will help me on my journey to personal growth. I also completed the fatherhood program, which is 2 out of the 3 programs I believe I was told to try and do before I came back to the board. The other program was Voices, as you already know. The main thing that stuck with me from the fatherhood program was to always make and create good, long-lasting memories with your kids. I haven't been the greatest father, even been one, sadly. I plan to change that as soon as I make it home. Doing the programs I feel confident and awoken to my potential. But I know also that I'm still learning and getting more knowledge about different paths to reach my full potential. Focus on my path to recovery is a big part of that. I have gained wisdom and have enough common sense to stay focused and determined once I am released. I just need to keep this positive attitude and support system I have. Keep practicing acceptance and keep my faith in God and trust He will guide me in His right path. Thank you, that's all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gibbons, for your opening statement. I know that you prepared a statement at your last hearing and you read it, and I'm happy that you were able to prepare another statement. Tell us what you've learned, what your intentions are when you're released from the prison. Yeah, it was a good statement. So you've been here before, you know exactly how this works. We're going to start with Mr. Pohl.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good to see you again, Mr. Gibbons, especially with the programs that you were able to take and complete, along with sharing with us those things that you did that you took from them. That was really incredibly important, and I got enough from that. The one thing I really want to clarify with you is you said focus on recovery. And with that, underneath that, you said keep a positive attitude. What else do you see yourself doing upon release to continue on that recovery program?
Changing the people I was around when I was home. You know, I was always around a bunch of negative people that were always on drugs or drinking. So I plan on staying away from that.
How are you going to do that?
By not being in those areas or staying, just trying to make new friends, probably go to AA meetings, more than likely find a sponsor.
More than likely?
Yeah.
More than likely, though, is that what you're going to be looking to do, or?
Because I know I'll be in the halfway house. I believe, from what I'm being told, that they make you go to programs and stuff. So I was gonna see what resources I could use from the program to help me stay on a straight path.
Okay. And you want to come out to Waterbury?
Yes.
And in Waterbury, there's not only a C-car recovery community center, but in the parole office, there's also a C-car recovery coach.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if we take a look at your record here, what's the one thing that all of these offenses have in common?
Thanks.
So what's the one thing we need to take care of when you were released?
By My recovery,
right?
the main thing, yeah.
I mean, you don't belong in there. It's 33 years old, right? Time to
Mhm.
get on with it. I'm glad
Yeah.
to see that you took the fatherhood program, right?
That was a good program.
And I'm glad that you know, what you said about the fatherhood program during your comments, that's incredibly important, right?
Mhm.
So, I really, I'm happy with what you've been able to accomplish. I'm also happy there weren't any further DRs. The idea on the temp agency when you come out is to find a place to work to maybe become permanent.
Mhm. I've done temp
Yeah.
agency before.
Right.
Familiar with it.
Yep. And that's where you're headed back to.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, for now, till I get a permanent job.
Okay. And oftentimes there's a lot of guys that come through that will go to a temp agency to find that permanent job.
Mhm.
I'll check out, hey, this is something that I could do.
Yep.
Right? So good on you for doing what you needed to do to get to here and that statement that we heard today. Very
Thank-
positive. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
That's all, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Poole. Mr. Gibbons, I was not on your last hearing, but I did listen to it. One of the things that I wrote down was that your daughter was pregnant, and did she have the baby yet?
My daughter?
Yes.
Yes.
You're excited about being a grandpa.
Yes. I just got some pictures of him the other day.
How old is he now?
He's 4 months.
Well, congratulations on that. One of the other things that I heard you talk about in your last hearing was that you were going to stay with this victim. Are you still with her?
No,
Okay, so that's over. You just have to,
we have
I
a daughter
read,
together, so
you're gonna go through the courts, like you said, to try to
Yes.
get visitation, not her.
yes.
So you're done with her. Okay, I think that's all I have. Mr. Rodriguez?
I don't have any questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So, Mr. Gibbons, you honestly have done what the previous panel wanted you to do, and you have no supervision to follow your sentence. So, I think that I'm supportive of his discretionary parole at this point. Are there any objections to that?
Objection.
And the conditions.
I had no alcohol, halfway house, DV in the community, no contact with LP or C, that's full of information.
Okay, and Mr. Gibbons, do you have a valid driver's license? Because I know you were driving around with a suspended license for a while.
No, I do not. I just actually got all those cases into court and dealt with it. So when I go home, I can't get my license.
So, you're gonna handle that.
No, I don't.
If you want to come back to prison for driving a car without a license,
Absolutely
you're gonna
not.
be taking a big risk. So I mean, it's for you. Okay. So with regard to Colin Gibbons, 362335, I move to grant discretionary parole on or after today's date with the following conditions in addition to the standard parole conditions. You are to consume no alcoholic beverages. You are to have no contact with your victim, in this case, initials LP or CG. You'll participate in domestic violence in the community, and you'll be released to a halfway house for residential placement. Colleagues, did I say everything?
And that without full officer's permission.
Without full officer. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so Mr. Gibbons, your release date will be today, which is October 18th, 2024. It's an on or after date. So, and to be honest with you, the halfway houses are a little bit backed up, so it might be a little while, but you'll get out there. And good luck to
I
you.
understand. Thank you.
Ms. Pimples in here for call pigeon 362355. Mr. Gibbons, you're all set. You receive all this information, okay? Here you go.
Just keep rolling that.
Inabinett,
Good morning.
good morning, how are you?
I'm Inan.
How to begin?
Pardon me?
Good morning. My name is Parole Officer Smellie. Today is Friday, October 18th, and this is a hearing of the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Parole. The following board members are present this morning and by state their names on the record, certify they have reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Good morning, I'm Panel Member Barry.
Good morning, Mike Poole.
Good morning, panel member Rodriguez.
Please state your name and inmate number for the record, sir.
Inabinett 268760.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Joshua Inabinett 368760. He is serving a sentence of 3 years jail flat for a criminal violation of restraining order, 2 counts of possession with intent to sell, dispense, hallucinogen, and failure to appear. Second, as of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date of November 6, 2024 at 50%. There is no victim input in this case. The offender has an offender accountability plan. A review of the plan shows he has completed domestic violence. He's currently participating in vocational building and trains, and he's in school for his GED. He remains on the wait list for the other programs. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system scores, the offender overall score for a recidivate falls within the very high range. Mr. Inabinett, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin, sir.
Thank you today. I'm nervous, but thank you for your opportunity to share my hopes and rehabilitation journey. This vote to parole means a lot to me and my children. I apologize to the Connecticut community at large for being a bad example and falling short of expectations. I committed the crime of domestic violence because I was angry. I believe my child's mother had another male living with her around our child without communicating to me. Before this point, I always shared with her what I was doing when she wasn't present. When she took this courtesy away from me, I became angry, believing that I was owed this courtesy. My domestic violence education has taught me that domestic violence happens in more ways than physical violence, and how my cycle of abusive language and manipulative behavior was negatively affecting my child, his mother, and me. At that point, I was able to take accountability for my reaction and commit to learning new ways to respond to difficult situations. Anger is normal, but acting out negatively is not tolerated. I sold drugs because I was addicted to drugs and had no job, education, or trade. Prior to my incarceration, I participated in a 90-day intensive outpatient drug abuse and behavior program at Wellmore Behavioral Center in Waterbury. I also participated in an aftercare relapse prevention program and learned how to receive support from the community, job employment, mental health treatment, and housing. I learned to make better decisions. Since being incarcerated, I have completed all required programming and been on an addiction service wait list since November 2023 to present. My current high school diploma is not accredited anymore, and I've entered the GED program, which I complete my last test this Tuesday, October the 22nd. I received several certifications from Building Trades vocational program, which will drastically improve my ability to participate in the workforce. I've retained steady employment while incarcerated. My goal to continue my rehabilitation by first using my voter parole to request a residential placement into a halfway house, communicate my reentry plan to my assigned parole officer, and earn my parole officer's confidence to allow me to seek employment and begin being a father to my children and performing community services again. I started a nonprofit program in December of 2021, and I have several, I'm nervous, several community members that support me. I participated in the CLIC program, which is a fatherhood education program, and filed motions with the family court to assist me in receiving my custodial and parental rights so I can avoid confrontation and risky situations. I'm very embarrassed that I'm putting myself and my loved ones through this difficult situation, but I've also learned through experience the responsibility necessary to be a law-abiding citizen. My religious association has supported my right thinking throughout this process. I put my best foot forward and pray I get a favorable decision from this panel today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Inabinett. Inabinett. I wrote it out phonetically. I appreciate your preparing for today's hearing and for the statement that you've provided to us. You've been before the parole board before, and I'm sure you know exactly how this works. I think years ago, we probably went into executive session to make our decisions. The only thing that's changed now is that we do it right in front of you. All right, so I'm going to begin with the questions. While I can appreciate much of what you've provided, and especially when you talked about you're being angry and how it's okay to be angry, but what you do with that anger is what, it is prevalent here. So tell us some ways that you think that you can avoid being in this situation again.
Well, the first step I took was accepting that I was wrong. I think for a long time, I didn't even think that I was wrong. I felt like I was owed something. After the domestic violence education, and I understand that how you treat people, how you talk to people, the space you give people to be themselves, will determine how they treat you back in return. Outside of that, in the law, as far as law is concerned, I've contacted the court and I've asked the court for assistance in helping me retain my parental rights and my custodial rights.
I heard you say that in your opening statement. I was listening. We were all listening, I'm sure. But yeah, I heard you say that. That's a good move. That is a good move. But we're talking about just this one victim, and I know that you've had a few issues with anger for a number of years. For example, this whole thing at the Social Security office, I mean, that was just ridiculous. So share with us again. It's okay. I'm angry. Okay. People are intimate partners. We can't control those people. So I'm really interested in knowing some of the steps that you're going to take to make sure that things don't turn physical, or you're not intimidating to the people that you're speaking to.
Another thing that I realized was that I was having mental health issues for a long time. So I take mental health therapy. I go to regular sessions. I take medication to modify my moods. And I think with the victim, it's just my job to be patient and allow her the space to do the things that she wants to do without making it a confrontation or an argument. I'm no good for my child if I'm not there. So I just need to just give her space and be patient with how she feels and what she wants.
Okay. Okay, we're going to move on. I understand that you're in for a domestic, but your anger stems not just from your intimate partner, it's full circle. So you need to figure out ways to apply that going forward. You mentioned in your opening statement that he said it wasn't a high school, my education or something or other, kind of what you said, it was kind of like your GED or your diploma expired.
So when I was incarcerated, my behavior was horrible. I didn't make myself available to get assistance from the prison system. So I had to get my high school diploma through the mail. When I got the high school diploma in 2008, the school was accredited. Here we are in 2024, and I'm trying to apply for college, and they're telling me they can't accept me because my high school diploma is not accredited. So I had to take a few steps back and re-enter myself into GED, and I've done that. I've completed majority of the tests. Because of the scheduling, I wasn't able to take the final tests before I got in front of the parole board, but I'm scheduled to take those tests Tuesday.
Yeah, I would have just said I'm working on my GED instead of, because your GEDs, that stuff can't expire. It goes with you. So, but anyway, I'm glad that you're working on that. I'm glad that you bit the bullet, no pun intended, and actually got yourself into the education program, and it's working. I also read that you are in training to become a personal trainer.
Well, no, it's called Building Trades. Yeah, actually, with the Building Trades teaches us how to get our general contracting license. We learn how to paint. We learn how to take measurements. Right now, I'm building a bathroom simulator right now, plumbing, sheet wall, rockets. So it'll greatly help me with my employability and broadening my skill set.
Good. So, Mr. Inabinett.
It's like saying in the cabinet, Inabinett.
Okay. Inabinett, thank you. I appreciate that. I know you have legally changed your name to B.
Bay, thank you
Bay.
for acknowledging that. Thank you, Bay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that'll be a little bit easier for everyone to say. Nonetheless, let's talk a little bit about your behaviors on your prior community releases. The issue that I'm having in reviewing your file is that you rate out very high in terms of risk to recidivate. You've been given 8 opportunities out in the community and you failed 7 of those. Very concerning. And you were only out on probation for about 6 months for a very serious offense when you committed these offenses. So it sounds like you were out there using drugs, making poor decisions, not working, all that stuff. So what's going to be different this time?
Well, what I learned when I went to the Wellmore Behavioral Program, like I said, first I have to acknowledge that my mental health was horrible for a long time, and I wasn't receiving treatment for it. So my thinking was off. What I thought was right was wrong. Now that I've taken care of that part, I was able to go to the Wellmore Behavioral Program and learn how to seek assistance from the community. It's almost like safeguards to keep you on the right track. So I would believe when I get home this time, first of all, I would just have to communicate with my parole officer everything that I feel like I want to do and hear out their perception of what they want of me. And then after that, continue to stay within the bounds of the structures that I was just doing when I was just home. It worked for me. You know, I had a religious institution. I'm required to report there Thursday, Fridays, and Sundays. I was taking aftercare programming with the Wellmore Behavior Program. So that allowed me to have assistance with housing, job employment, any kind of mental health issues that I may have had. And I just think that for the beginning part of me being home, staying away from the old community that kind of enabled me to make bad decisions and stay within the structures that are going to help me move forward, help me be a father to my child, help me be a community member, help me continue to do my community service, I'll be all right.
Okay. So I appreciate that. But let's talk about how many times you've participated in treatment for substance abuse prior to this. And how many times have you taken the Explore program for domestic violence prior to this one?
So I've took the Explore program for domestic violence once before now. I've took in a year. So now we got to take in consideration it's 26 years of bad living up until this point. So I've done the program. Did I take the program seriously then? I took them as seriously as enough to get me home. As far as actually using the resources that come along with those programs, I had no intentions of doing that because I see no value in it. I had bad mental health and I just thought wrong. And now that I have a child and it's important to me not to embarrass my family, it's important to me not to be a bad example for my children. It's important to me to be a better community member and give them my mistakes so that they won't make the same mistakes. I have to use the tools that are here for me and stay away from the things that are no good. I'm 42 years old. I cannot, and my children are young still. I cannot leave them alone again. And I cannot put myself in a situation where I'm not striving forward.
Right. So I know your children are what, 13 and 9 now?
Well, my son is 12. My oldest son is 12, and my youngest son is 11. Just turned 11 in July.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that was way off. All right, and so tell me, help me understand chronologically how this all happened. So when were you released out onto probation?
What time are we talking
This
about?
time, you're back on, this is a VOP, it was terminated.
So what happened was I went home on parole February of 2018. I completed the parole requirements sometime, huh?
You got a new arrest because you had marijuana and you had contact with your victim.
No, I didn't have any marijuana. That's not a part of my charges. But I did let my parole officer know that I was having a birthday party and my fiance would be there. We had no separation, legal separations, but to go home on parole, they wanted me to agree that I wouldn't go around her. So we called my parole officer before that hearing date. Before my birthday, and let the parole officer know that it was a family event. My son would be there. We were legally married at that time. That my wife would be there, and the parole officer didn't say anything. Sometime after that, in September or October, the parole officer and a bunch of other officers came searching. They found nothing. She told me to give her my phone. When I gave her my phone, she went through my pictures. And when she went through my pictures, the picture of me and my wife were together on my birthday, and they violated my parole. I had to go back for 5 months for that. But they let me go. Once they let me go, I was completed with that. I started my probation. I started my probation, and that was around 2019. I started my probation.
I see. August 30th, 2019. And then by December, you were already testing negative and not showing up.
That December, I don't believe it was that December. I believe that my
according
parole, because I had a legal marijuana license at that time, because at that time marijuana wasn't legal.
Right.
Totally.
No, but I'm saying that they're saying that you were not reporting.
So that is accurate, and I would say that that is around the time where my mental health started to take over. I was reading the wrong information. I was around the wrong people. I took in a belief system that wasn't accurate with the actual religious beliefs. I'm
okay. I appreciate that. So you got this breach of peace in 2020, and then you started contacting the victim. You got a failure to appear, and then you committed the breach of peace where you didn't report in a criminal mischief.
So that's accurate as well. I had promised my son that I would not miss.
No, it's okay. I'm just trying to figure out things chronologically, how all of this transpired and when you went back to prison. So on your last arrest, which I show was the August 9th, 2022, is that when you kicked in your ex-wife's door? The garage, you kicked her door? Not kicked it, kicked it.
Well, I'm in here for that. Yes, absolutely. That was the night that I went to go. So first mistake that I made was that we had a protective order.
Protective order,
And,
I know.
and the protective order doesn't allow me to be there. She told me to come get my son from over there. That was mistake one that I would never ever do again.
Mr. Inabinett, I understand. I just was trying to figure. So for me, I have to put the pieces of the puzzle together in my head to try to make things make sense. But I understand some women are difficult. They won't let you see your children. I understand it works, but I'm not saying that it was her fault. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that I understand how things work, and you have the right mindset to go through the court. You said you filed the motions to get parental rights. So good luck to you to that. Let me see if my colleagues have any other questions for you, okay?
Thank you.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We've asked quite a few questions and really dug a little deeper into some of the issues, because I share many of the same concerns around your history, which was not just around domestic violence. In fact, you've spread your anger around to many other situations than many other people. I'm also concerned about your very high rating in terms of your risk to recidivate again, and the fact that you've had your seven unsuccessful releases. You know, although I will say that you do sound as if you're really putting much more thought into, you know, what you want to do with your life, you know, going forward now. Those things still concern me. And you hear it. I mean, you hear it from us. Yeah. And you've taken some of these programs before, and they didn't kind of stay with you. So you kind of did it just to kind of be able to get out, connect with your family again. And, you know, this protective order goes to 2081, right? So, I mean, you've got all these time yet. So hopefully you are going to deal with the situation in court.
So again, and I totally understand your responsibility to the community. Nobody wants to let somebody go, and the next thing you know, they're on the news for doing something crazy. Correct. So I totally respect that part. In the situation I'm in, I just gotta say, I gotta blame it on myself and blame it on my mental health, because I made the right decision to divorce the person, but I didn't make the right decision to keep my space, knowing that I have all of these struggles with trying to overcome my past, trying to reintegrate myself into society, still fighting the things. I didn't need to be in a relationship with anybody. I didn't need to be in contact with anybody who wasn't 100% for me. It was a lot of things that I just wasn't processing properly. I spent a lot of time in jail. I spent a lot of time in closed custody programs. These are 23-and-1s. I've spent a lot of time not getting the education that I needed. I spent a lot of time involving myself with people who didn't have the right ideas. The only thing that's different now is that before I came into prison this time, I changed people, places, and things. So I know the difference. And I can't tell you anything, but I've been putting in the work, and I just hope that it's acknowledged.
So I know that you talked about your substance abuse situation.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of planning have you done around, and because you talked about your mental health too, you've done something, you think it's a plan around your mental health, but your substance abuse, what planning have you done around relapse prevention?
Well, I've already, so that's the good thing, is that I was already doing that before I came in. So I understand the process of going to an organization within whatever community I would be released to, applying for aftercare programming, and just having the access to the tools necessary to stay away from that. I think before now, not having a job and having this tendency to fall back on drugs was a big issue. Now I know how to work. And I know that drugs aren't good for me, and I'm getting actual medication from the mental health, the mental health arena. So I don't need that anymore.
So besides your mental health concerns and your planning for programming for that, what other kinds of programming have you been thinking about related to your anger?
Well, I've been tested many a time since I've been in here. I was being tested when I was home. I acknowledged that the way that I was solving my problems was wrong. And if my parole officer believes that I need to go take an anger management class or need to participate in anger management for a certain amount of time while I'm in his supervision, then I will have to follow those rules and do what I'm asked of. Me personally, I just plan to keep myself busy with working, community service, mental health, religious, and being a father. And I don't want to leave myself any opportunity to put myself in a situation that may cause that. And if it does, I want to be prepared for it.
Yeah,
I have too many things to lose.
I appreciate it. I asked you that because of the 2 tickets you got almost less than a year ago. Right?
So
one was for causing a disturbance.
Yes.
And the other one was for fighting.
Right. So I have requested the report and from that fight, and that was something that was out of my control. I'm walking in the child line, going to go sit down and eat, and somebody came up from behind me and punched me in my head. It's in the incident report for the fight. There was nothing I could do, but what I did not do was go into a rage. I grabbed the person, I held the person until the COs can come and break it up. Before now, in my past, I would have went into a rage. I would have lost my mind, but I knew I had too much to lose. So if I caught a fighting ticket, I had to eat that. I went to the disciplinary hearing. I did as much as I could do. They said because I was involved in this situation, I was guilty. I had to accept that and I moved forward. The other situation with the causing the disturbance was more of a mental health thing. I got patted down 3 times in a row. The 3rd time that they patted me down in a row, I felt like my rights were being violated and I was asking questions. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this 3 times in a row? The officer right there just did it. I was wrong again because this is the process of being in prison. You're under custody of the state of Connecticut, and that's it. I had no reason to say anything. That was it. But at that moment, I wasn't on my medication, and it took. I said I was out of control.
Well, I thank you for answering my question, Mr. Inabinett.
Thank you.
And
In the cabinet.
cabinet. I'm thinking of cabinet and Inabinett. I appreciate you answering my questions, and I still think there may be some additional program you could still take. I would have liked to see you take the addiction services program. That might have given you some more, assistance in figuring out a plan for yourself when you come out. But, it looks as if you've been moving in kind of pretty good direction. With building trade certificate, that's an important thing for work on the outside. Anyway, thank you for answering my questions this morning.
Thank you.
Mr. Rodriguez. Mr. Pohl? Thank you. So, Mr. Inabinett, in the cabinet. Inabinett. We're going to talk about your case. Just give us a few minutes. Please don't interrupt, okay?
Yes.
So I really do believe that Mr. Inabinett will benefit from some parole supervision. He does have quite a bit of time left on his sentence. I would like to see him complete at least an addiction services program prior to his going out. It's November now, and I would like his estimated date is March 26th. So if we could give him about a year under parole supervision, if he's able to get into that program without assistance and have him come back, I think that would set him up for even more success. But that's my position. This hearing took a little bit longer for me because I really did not have a decision written down, unlike some of the cases where we definitely know what we're going to do. This was not one of those cases. So I'm struggling with his having a flat sentence. I know that he is a very high risk according to the numbers that we see here. He hasn't done well previously. And when he was voted for before, he violated that too. But he's more mature, and I think that he would benefit eventually if he's able to go back in there and finish the program and come back. That's where I am. Mr. Rodriguez?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think Mr. Inabinett has made some real progress. In fact, the example that he gave around his fighting ticket, which I thought was a good example about not
Losing it.
not getting into any rage and really just trying to kind of stop it by doing that was a good example of his trying to use that.
Mm-hmm.
He acknowledges the fact that there is a mental health issue.
Yep.
And that he needs that kind of help. And I was impressed with that. I share with you the same concern about his substance abuse addiction services not having been completed or taken yet. Although I'll add to that he also said that he knew about the community resources that are available to him on the outside, and there are some available to him on the outside that he can utilize. I would be willing to grant Mr. Inabinett the discretionary parole today because he would be under supervision. And of course, if it doesn't work out for him, he's going to end up right back in prison again. And give him that opportunity to at least get out there and give himself a shot this time. I think we can add an anger management to this.
Well, anger management, domestic.
He took in domestic violence.
Well, he needs to take domestic violence, and are you saying and anger?
So that would be there.
Yeah.
So that would be there.
A portion of it.
So that's kind of where I'm at with Mr. Inabinett today.
I appreciate that, Mr. Rodriguez. Mr. Pope, may I have that yellow cord underneath you?
So interestingly enough, I came in here with a deny and rehear for March of 25, but based upon Mr. Inabinett's discussion today, and not just discussion, examples
Yeah.
of how
You
he,
did well.
how he's responded in different ways to things going on. In addition to, getting in and, dealing with, some vocational stuff and things like that that will help him along the way. I would be also willing to grant to that.
I certainly understand. He's definitely done well, and I'm hoping that he proves, he does well when he's out in the community. So for conditions, I just have domestic violence, no CI. I have that his license is suspended as well. Now, unlike.
No, my license is good and it's inside of my property right now.
Perfect, okay. And a halfway house because he's asked for that, and a mental health evaluation and treatment.
Correct.
Is there anything else? Okay. Mr. Poole, you'd be so kind as to get one of those forms.
Yes.
That we're gonna. So with regard to Joshua Inabinett, 268760, I move that to grant discretionary parole on or after his earliest eligibility date, which is as of today, November 6th, 2024. Thank you. With the following conditions, in addition to the standard parole conditions, you will participate in domestic violence in the community, no contact with the victim, Miss CI. There is a protective order still in place. You'll be released to a halfway house and you'll participate in a mental health evaluation and receive treatment as deemed necessary. Colleagues, have I said everything?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I am opposed, Mr. Inabinett. You are doing well. I just feel like the additional tools in the toolbox would even give you more, fluff to stand on. So, but you're doing well. Go out there and prove me wrong.
Thank you. I will gladly do that. Thank you.
This is Joshua Inabinett, 268760. Mr. Inabinett, good luck to you. You received all this in writing.
Say that again. I didn't hear you.
You'll get all of it in writing.
Thank you. You have a good day.
You too.
Everyone get home safe.
You do.
Okay.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning, Mr. Kelly.
Good morning. How are you?
Stand by for it. Good morning, my name is Parole Officer Smellie. Today's October 18th, and this is a hearing of the Connecticut Board of Partisan Parole. The following board members are present this morning and by state their names on the record, certified their reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Good morning, I'm panel member Barry.
Good morning, Mike Poole.
Morning, panel member Rodriguez.
Please state your name and inmate number for the record, sir.
Gabriel Kelly, 364838.
This hearing is conducted in consideration of the parole application for Gabriel Kelly, 364838. He is serving a sentence of 10 years, execution suspended after 5 years jail with 5 years probation to follow. He had 2 years mandatory minimum, which expired on 5/19/2023, DUI convictions for criminal possession of pistol revolver, violation of protective order, 2 counts of illegal operation of people under the influence, second offense, an illegal operation of a motor vehicle without ignition device. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of 2/4/2025 at 50%. There's no victim input in this case. The offender has an offender accountability plan. A review of the plan shows the offender has completed voices. Tier 2, domestic violence, second chance child. He stated that he's also participating in the vocational and training.
Okay.
Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system stores the offender overall scores for recidivate and falls within the high range. I believe Mr. Kelly also just completed building and trades and received an evaluation for that. That was sent in yesterday. Mr. Kelly.
Officer Smellie, I apologize before you give
Yes, ma'am.
him an opportunity. Did you say that he completed domestic violence as well? Did you say that?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Kelly, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin, sir.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, members of the parole board. First and foremost, I'd like to express my deepest gratitude for this opportunity to speak to you before today. I understand the significance of this moment and the weight of your decision. It is truly an honor to have the chance to present myself to you and share my story. I'd like to begin by offering a heartfelt apology to all the people I've hurt through my past actions. The choices I made in my earlier years caused pain and suffering to my victims, my family, and the broader community. I take full responsibility for those choices, and I deeply regret the harm I've caused. These are not just words, but a reflection of the inner work I've done to understand the impact of my behavior and strive toward making amends. Early on in my incarceration, I came to the difficult realization that my substance abuse has become unmanageable. It wasn't just destroying my life, it was hurting the people I love most, my family, especially my children and my mother. This realization was a turning point for me. It was the trigger that made me confront my behavior and start on the long road to bettering myself, not just for me, but for the people who have always stood by me. In terms of my health, I faced significant medical challenges along this journey. In October of last year, I had ACL reconstruction surgery at UConn. I spent 2 months in the hospital recovering. Following that, I spent another 6 months in a medical unit undergoing extensive personal rehabilitation. These physical challenges have taught me patience, discipline, and the importance of persistence, qualities that have also translated into my personal growth. One key component of my rehabilitation has been acquiring new skills that will allow me to reintegrate into the society successfully. I've completed a vocational program studying home improvement contracting, which has equipped me with real practical skills in carpentry, masonry, electrical work, and much more. These skills will help me re-enter the workforce with confidence, knowing that I can support myself and contribute meaningfully to the community. In addition to my vocational training, I have attended college at night, furthering my education and proving to myself that learning is a lifelong endeavor. I have also completed several important rehabilitation programs, including Voices, Tier 2 drug counseling, domestic violence. Each of these have helped me build stronger foundation for my future and address the root causes of my past behavior. I stand before you today asking for the opportunity to act on all that I've learned and the work I've done over the years. I'm asking for a chance to prove that I'm capable of not only following the law, but also contributing positively to the community that I once harmed. I am not the person I was when I entered this facility. Today, I am a man who understands the value of accountability, growth, and service to others. I'm ready to re-enter the society to show that I can be a good father, a good son, and a responsible citizen. I'm ready to apply my skills, my education, and my personal transformation to build a productive, law-abiding life. Thank you for your time, your consideration, and for giving me the opportunity to present my case. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kelly, for that opening statement. You did a good job.
Thank
You
you.
are very emotional about this, so I understand that it's a really big deal and that you really want an opportunity to prove that you really have gained some insight about your behaviors and ways to avoid those things in the future. I appreciate the time that you took to write that. How long did it take you?
It took some time. I've been involved in the college doing the English, so I've used my skills I've learned, in my college courses to kind of really put it together.
Yeah. Well, you did a great job. You should be proud of yourself. I would suggest that you keep that letter so that,
Thank you.
things start to go awry, because life isn't perfect, you can reflect on some of the things that you aspire to achieve and what this has taught you. So you've been before the parole board before?
No,
You have not.
no.
So what's going to happen here is we're going to take an opportunity to ask some questions. When we're done with our questions, we will deliberate and then we will give you our decision. Okay?
All right.
Best of luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Vazquez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Mr. Kelly.
Morning.
Thank you for your opening statement. I agree. It's very emotional, very emotionally done, and well written. So thank you for that. Yeah, but I want to start out with just some of the concerns that I have, and they're concerns that we all have many times. One is you have a pistol possession charge.
Yes.
And there are a lot of things going on in the community today where people are getting killed and shot, and that's a real concern for us. There's also your history. Which is a fairly extensive history for such a young man, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's another concern. And the reason I want to go through these concerns because I want you to kind of address them if you can.
All right.
All right. Your charges are serious. You also have illegal operation of a motor vehicle under the influence. Also concerning for us. People are getting killed on the highways.
Yes, sir.
Right. So these are areas that are really very, very concerning for us. You did a nice job with your opening statement about you want to be a good citizen, you want to be good in society, you want to kind of contribute back. I want to hear a little bit more about those things that you've taken from the programming that you received, both voices and your tier 2 and whatever else you've learned while you're in there that addresses those concerns. Like, what's going to happen when you come up with a pistol? What do you need a pistol for? You said self-protection. Protection from what? So how are you going to address that concern? You're going to go back out into the community. Sometimes things are even a little bit rougher now out in the community.
Yeah, maybe in my previous mindset, I'm being under the influence, I might not have been thinking clear. And I might have been somewhat paranoid and thought I might have needed protection. But at this point, I feel pretty good that I don't think I'll be needing. I don't think that I'll result to anything like that at this point.
You were using some very serious drugs.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
So on a couple of occasions, you were found unconscious in the car.
Correct.
So you have a very serious issue. So just, continue to talk to me about what are the things that you're going to do to kind of deal with these various areas.
The main thing I'm gonna do and focus on is staying sober. I strongly believe that if I stay sober and I stick to my plan of being sober, working, and being held accountable for all my actions, that is the root. I feel like that is the very root of.
Okay, tell me about that plan. That's what I want. I want to hear that plan. What's that plan?
Staying sober, being having a recovery coach, being involved in drug, outside drug programs, community centers, working, doing everything that I should.
You've had community treatment in the community, right?
Yeah, I did. I was, yeah.
And what happened that it didn't work?
Honestly, I got involved in the most recent treatment at the App Foundation after I was already fighting, after I was already arrested and starting the case. So I think the stress and everything that was manifesting into what I knew that I was coming to the situation, I think it was just, I didn't have the skills, and I just didn't have the resources and didn't care at that time because I knew that I was coming. That no matter what, it was coming to an end. But at this point, I'm extremely grateful for my time. Believe it or not, I'm grateful for my time being incarcerated. I've taken full advantage of the programs and all the tools that are available to me here, to make a better outcome upon my release. The time that I've been in, there's times I call home just last month I've lost multiple people that I went to school with, I've been dealing with this. It's very unfortunate, but I feel blessed that I'm still here. All right, I feel like I literally have another chance to get back into the community, improve myself, not only to myself, but to my family and just everyone around me, that I can be extremely productive and I can I can get better.
I mean, I'm hoping so, because you've had, an opportunity 7 other times. You've only been successful once. 6 of those times you didn't do well at all. 6 unsuccessful community types of releases.
Under those circumstances, I don't feel like maybe the situation was, I wasn't, the right tools weren't available to me. I feel like coming out of those situations to where, while I was incarcerated and coming out, and I didn't accomplish anything in those times. So nothing really changed my mindset to do different, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, I understand addiction, so I understand some of that thinking. But since you're taking your tier 2 programming,
Yes.
what have you done to follow up on any other additional programming for your relapse prevention process?
Well, I contacted the App Foundation. That I was
Since tier 2.
Yes, I spoke to my previous case manager, Kim, at Foundation North Haven on State Street. I spoke to her this week, actually. Explained to her what I got going on and I want to get back in treatment. There's limited resources here, as far as, not limited resources, but I've been in contact with addiction services. I do not want to get back on methadone. I was previously on methadone, and I feel like I was constantly having like allergic reactions and just, negative health effects. I want to get on a long-term opioid receptor such as Vivitrol. They do have Suboxone available here, but you have to have, within like 4 to 8 weeks to release, to really get on the Suboxone. So I am utilizing my resources to get the knowledge to know, because I do not want to go back on methadone for opioid dependency. Vivitrol, I heard very good things about the Vivitrol. My family's been doing research on it. There's some new ones, long-term opiate. There's a lot of new stuff on the market that seems like it'd be, but unfortunately I have to get past, I have to get to the next stage to really get to that, I feel like.
Thank you for that. Tell me about what your support system is going to look like on the outside.
My support system, I have my mother, I have 3 sisters, my father, my grandma. I have a good support system, strong support system. They're always very supportive of me.
You've got a support letter in your file I read.
Mhm.
Madam Chair, at this moment, I don't have any additional questions. Mr. Kelly, you did really well on your building trade. You got an excellent evaluation. I want to end with that. It seems like you really put a lot of effort into that particular program. Whatever was driving you at that point was very positive to get that done. And I'm sure it'll be a very good opportunity for you on the outside, when you get on the outside, to be able to establish that and develop that. But contractors, you got to be very careful, right? Because a lot of contractors in people's homes and steal things and do things, trying to get you access.
Absolutely.
Anyway, but you've done very well in that particular program. I appreciate that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank
Thank you very
you.
much.
Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Cole?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The only thing that I really wanted to follow up with is you're at Osborn. Osborn's a big C-car place.
Excuse me?
Osborn is a big C-car place,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
You know C-car?
Yeah, a little bit, a little, not very much. It's like the recovery coach. It's like the recovery coaching. Yeah. Obviously, I feel like there's a lot of time in here. Yeah, I haven't done it. I haven't been involved with it. No.
Well, it's not about everybody becoming a coach, but it's about having the coach as you transition back into the community. And with all of the things that you have going on, a coach is somebody who has the resources, knows how to get you the resources,
Mhm.
Oftentimes has lived experience. Like I just heard you talk about, methadone. I totally understand what you just said.
Mhm.
I just heard you talk about Suboxone and Vivitrol, and totally I like your thinking when it comes to where you're headed.
All right.
That shows a lot of growth. It's like, what am I going to be my best self with, right?
Right.
But having a coach that's somebody that can help you in the transition back out into the community, right? Because
Right.
honestly, if you want to, not that it's easy, but it's easy to stay clean inside. Coming out here, you're coming out to the last place you were when you were out here, got you to where you are right now, right?
Right.
And having that support as you transition is huge. There's so many guys out here that are successful because they engaged with a coach, right?
Makes sense. Makes sense.
And so it's CCAR is on your tablet.
Yeah, correct.
You can request a coach right through there.
Yes.
I would do that.
All right.
It can only benefit you. I appreciate inside you've been going. You said been doing some AANA, and you want to do that when you come out here.
When I get out, I'd like to, I'm gonna continue with the programs I've been doing.
And just as a follow-up as well, as part of MAT in there, are you going to the weekly or a couple times a month programs as well?
I'm not, right now, I'm not included in the MAT. That's, the MAT is like the medication, that's
Right.
like if you're on Suboxone or methadone.
Sure. So you're not taking part in any of that at all right now?
No.
Okay, that's what you had said before. I just wasn't sure if you were involved in any of it, because on some of it, when people are involved in it, there's additional programming that goes with it. So I heard the question from board member Rodriguez about what have you done after tier 2, and I was trying to see if there was something else there.
Well, after the tier 2, I did get into aftercare, which was like it's a whole therapeutic unit, and I did that. And I did that for maybe about six weeks or so. But
Great.
it seemed to get to the point where it was almost ineffective, because I wouldn't be penalized at school for missing school to go to the groups, but
I get it.
some of the stuff I really felt like I needed to balance, to focus on, if I can only go to school during these hours, really focus on what I'm doing, because one day you miss a few hours of a project that we're doing, it's like you miss it's like you got a big gap in your training.
I get it. I get it. So that's good. So coming out, go to get some meetings, get in touch with the coach. That's really positive stuff. Just make sure you keep your eye on that one thing that continues to be a problem in your life.
Yes.
So I don't have anything further, man.
Thank you, Mr. Pohl. So now, Mr. Kelly, we are going to deliberate and we will give you our decision, okay? Please don't interrupt. You can listen. Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You basically have heard my concerns around current offenses and prior offenses that he's had. I believe they're all related to this drug addiction situation. He's worked on that. He's completed his tier 2. He's sounding very good today compared to what we've read about his history and who he is. So he's completed his DV, he's completed voice, he's completed his tier 2, he's given thought to what he wants to do afterwards. He's done extremely well in the building trades workshop. And in fact, got a glowing report in the work that he's done. I would be willing to support Mr. Kelly's discretionary parole today. So that's kind of where I'm at.
I understand.
Agreed.
All right. So, while I can really appreciate everything and all the efforts that Mr. Kelly has done, I'm going to again go on the minority. I really am concerned for many of the things that you said. So, and that does not negate, of course, that he is doing very well now. And I just hope that he continues on that path.
And I hope he utilizes his time left before he's paroled.
He has a lot of time left.
To work on getting a sponsorship on the outside and continue to set up his outside situation with his addiction.
All right, so with regard, okay, so domestic violence, no alcohol, no VR, and 8 halfway house.
Yeah, that's what I have.
Anything else?
That's it. That's what I have.
So we'll, with regard to Gabriel Kelly, 364-838, I move to grant discretionary parole on or after its earliest eligibility date, which as of today is February 4th, 2025, with the following conditions. In addition to the standard parole conditions, you are to consume no alcoholic beverages. You'll have no contact with your victim. Her initials are VR. And you will
Behavior management, domestic violence.
get domestic violence in a halfway house. I think we'll do we want to do Vanessa of the victim with out parole officer's permission? I think there's a,
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
okay. So we'll do the victim without the parole officer's permission. Did I say everything?
Sorry.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Thank you.
Okay. So this is a majority decision, Mr. Kelly. Congratulations. You've been voted to parole. We wish you the best.
Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon. Thank you. Thank you.
This concludes the hearing for Gabriel Kelly, 364-838. Mr. Kelly, you'll receive all this in writing. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Good morning, panel.
Good morning, Mr. Miranda Perez.
Morning.
Good morning, my name is Parole Officer Smellie. Today is Friday, October 18th, and this is a hearing of the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Parole. The following board members are present this morning and by name in the record certified they reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Good morning, panel member Barry.
Morning, Mike Paul.
When panel member Rodriguez.
Please state your name and inmate number for the record, sir.
Samuel Miranda, 417-185.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Samuel Miranda Perez. His inmate number is 417-185. He is serving a sentence of 5 years jail flat for possession with intent to sell dispense narcotics, 2 counts of violation of protective orders, violation of probation with underlying possession with intent to sell dispense, and inferior to officer/resistant. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of December 20th, 2024 at 50%. There is no victim input in this case. The offender has an offender accountability plan. A review of the plan shows he has completed voices in domestic violence and is currently waitlisted for the remaining program. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system scores, the offender overall score for recidivating falls within the high range. Mr. Miranda Perez, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Tell us why you think you deserve parole, sir.
Well, I believe first and foremost, I wrote a letter here.
You're more than
Right,
welcome to read it now. Thank you.
Okay, so first I'd like to thank the panel. First, I'd like to thank the panel for this opportunity to be heard. I take full accountability for my actions and behavior. My goal is to contribute and add value to the community. Through rehabilitation, I involve myself in programs such as domestic violence, CLICK program, 24/7 dad, and effective fatherhood. I learned different parenting styles such as permissive, authoritarian, authoritative, and neglectful. As far as domestic violence, I've taken different strategies I can use to help handle physical, emotional, and financial abuse. Through this incarceration, I also engaged in NA and AA meetings, and also will be completing Tier 2, where I learned to maintain sobriety and live in abstinence. My post-release plan is to use resources within the halfway house to help reintegrate back into society, find employment through a career center, job coordinator, or temp agencies that hire felons. I also want to get my driver's license. I want to make choices in my best interest and my family's, be responsible, independent, and productive, and inspire independent living, and be a father for my child and a provider for my family. I believe I deserve parole because as you know, through rehabilitation, I've availed myself in a lot of programs that can help me reintegrate back into society and not
Reoffend.
reintegrate back into society and be an asset to the community and be positive for society.
All right. Well, Mr. Perez, we appreciate that information and for you preparing a statement for us today. We much rather see you back out in the community being a productive contributing member, but we have to make sure that we put public safety first. And hopefully you've risen to a level that will make us feel safe in saying, yeah, give them a chance to go back out into the community. So what will happen is each of us will ask you some questions. When we are done with our questions, we'll deliberate and then we'll give you our decision, okay?
Okay.
Good luck to you, sir. Mr. Pohl will start.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Mr. Perez. How are you?
Good morning.
Can you talk a little bit about, for me, the violation of protective order, those couple of incidents, arrest convictions, and certainly you've taken voices in DV. So can you reflect on what happened there and what you learned so that that's not going to happen again?
Well, first and foremost, I'm going to, it was a long time ago, so my memory isn't really too well on, and given granted I was under the influence, but moving forward, I'm going to, in the future, remove myself from the situation and walk away from the conflict or the issue, and make rational decisions that are going to benefit myself in the situation that I'm in, and make sure that myself and people around me are not in jeopardy by making not thinking correctly and not making rational decisions.
That's incredibly important. And I mean, yeah, those two, but then also when you came in back in January of 23, you wound up with tickets, right? A ticket. You wound up with a ticket that involved phone calls to the
Yes,
victim in the case?
Yes, my daughter's mother. In this case, I didn't know that we couldn't keep in communication due to the fact that when I pled guilty, the protective order was dropped. So I figured that I can still communicate on behalf of my child. So long story short, I learned that I couldn't do that. I couldn't communicate with a victim.
Okay, and then how has that worked out since?
Well, since I've been, at the end of the day, I'm a father. So yes, I've been through family members reaching out, to my offspring to make sure, her conditions are good. She's fine.
Okay. And that's certainly, I mean, it's important, right? Because a couple of things that you talked about, were goals in coming out, being a father, right? Being supportive to your family, right? And so one of the things that you said when you were explaining that was, it was a while ago and I was under the influence. Can you take me through what's occurred with addiction services?
Oh, yes.
Since you've been during this incarceration?
Okay, so through addiction services, I was involved. I'm currently in tier 2, and
Let's start at the beginning though.
Oh, the
Let's
beginning of my
start at the
sentence. The beginning of my sentence. Okay, so I was sentenced in August 5th of 2022.
Just
for
with addiction services.
Okay, so I started.
Continue. Yeah.
I started the tier 4 program, and was removed 3 months into the 6-month program because I disobeyed a direct order.
What happened?
I was trying to speak to the counselor, and she wasn't available at the time, and I still insisted. So I got this. I disobeyed a direct order, and after that, I was removed from the program, and then I started tier 2, and months later I started tier 2, and then was able to. I also didn't complete it due to the fact that I got transferred to this facility, and now I am enrolled in tier 2 again, and I finished November 6th.
Okay, and what have you learned from the 3 months in tier 4 and the tier 2 program, and what's your recovery plan?
Okay, so what I learned from the tier 4 program was to change my addictive criminal thinking, how to make better choices, and how to maintain sobriety and abstinent, and not and that living sober, you make better decisions. They also have a philosophy. I believe it goes, if I don't remember that well, it says, "I am here because there is no refuge, not even for myself." Until the person, it was like, I don't really remember it that well to do the 3 months, but
Okay.
through tier 2, I'm working on the different types of the stimulants, and how withdrawals affect your body, and how being addicted to a substance can really deteriorate your mind and not make you think productively, and can take you away from your family and loved ones if you're not able to function under drug use.
which is what happened.
Correct.
So when you get out, you said that you learned what to do to maintain your sobrieties, your recovery.
Right.
So what are you gonna do?
I'm going to be more involved with my family. I have a, you know, I'm a very active person, so I like to play basketball. I like to work out, and I'm going to substitute, doing all those types of things in order to, you know, maintain sobriety and be, you know, a productive asset to the community.
Okay, so your drug score is a 5, which there is no 6. So more family involved is important.
Right.
Taking care of your physical self is important. Those are both recovery related things. But how are you going to take care of the thinking piece of this?
The thinking aspect of it, I'm going to go through OIC, or, you know, if I'm in a halfway house, I'm going to attend meetings if I can. In the nearest, I did a reasoning and rehabilitation program down in OIC in 2016, downtown London on Bank Street. And I'm going to reach out to those resources to, if I ever feel like if I'm going to relapse or
You think that's too late?
Too late?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, if you think you're going to relapse, do you think it's too late?
No, well, I don't think I'm going to relapse at all, because I don't want to leave my family again. I don't want to leave my daughter. Like I told you, I don't want this lifestyle anymore, and I want to move forward in life and be productive and positive. So no, I don't look at relapse as even an option. It's not even an occurring.
So here's the issue though, is like, it is an option. Okay, so that's reality. And I believe you, 100% believe you, when you say you want to go out of here and relapse is not going to be a problem. 100% believe you. You know how many times I hear that? And do you know how many guys come back on revocations because they went out there and it happened again? Have you ever gone out there and you weren't going to do it? I love my family so much, but I had to do it anyway. Have you ever? That's never occurred for you.
That hasn't. That's not my way of thinking anymore.
Okay.
That's not my way of thinking. I you know, like I told you, I changed my addictive criminal thinking into positive, doing positive things like working out, playing basketball, evolving the people around me, you know, with a positive lifestyle.
And it's like, where are those people going to come from? I guess
My family.
Okay.
My family, you know, people who I meet, you know, in the gym, let's say, or people I play basketball with, the environment I'm in, or maybe wherever I'm employed, because that also plays a big role. You know, your employment, your surrounding areas around you. So where I'm employed will also work. You know what I mean? Into
Okay.
just.
But so I just want to stay on this piece for a second, right?
Right.
So, in the facility, and I think that you might have had some exposure to CCAR.
CCAR?
Yeah.
I've heard of yes, of being a recovery coach. I've heard of that.
Well, so there's an awful lot of talk about being a recovery coach. And that's great, but it's about getting one, right?
Right.
So a recovery coach has access to all of the resources in the community, knows where they are, knows how to get whatever it is that you need to get, right? And often has lived experience. I know a lot of coaches that go to the gym,
Staff,
right?
staff.
And stuff like that. And what I'm concerned about is you having the support in place when it comes to addiction. Somebody that understands that, because you have a score of a 5, right? So that you go out and continue in that positive direction, right? Because you get out there, it's like something goes not good for us. What do you think the first thing is that you're probably going to think about?
Well, to be honest with you, I've been sober and clean. I've been sober and for the longest now. I've been close to 3 years, and I don't see, you know, using or even being around narcotics in any way, shape, or form to affect me in the future, because I've evolved.
And I believe that you believe that. I do. But the reality of things is that when you get out there and things go sideways, we're going to think about the last thing that we thought about the last time the situation came up, which is to use. And that's natural. It's only natural. Okay. So it's about being able to think in that moment about what am I going to do and where is my support? So it's not like somebody who's got a score of a 5 who's well on their way can just will it away.
Right. Like I had mentioned before, completing the tier 2 program, which I'm going to be done by November 6th. And it's teaching me how to, what I'm learning from it is how to substitute, right? And those cravings, because that would be like, yes, the thoughts.
You're well past cravings.
No, right.
You're well past cravings, thoughts.
Right, the thoughts to eventually fall back into that it's not going to occur, because I'm going to substitute that with working out, going to the gym, staying physically active. You know what I mean?
Right. That's all positive stuff, and that's the correct thinking. But having somebody there to support you as you transition back into the community is incredibly important.
Right.
Just telling you that. Right?
Right.
It is. You don't get points for rooting your way through it. Right?
Yes, it's always good. It's always good to have someone to talk to. You're right. Someone, you know, on your side that's rooting for you and you know, has your back, and you know, it's always good.
The last thing that I'll say on that, because that's the thing that I'm most concerned with here. That's the thing that I'm most concerned with here. You know, back on your tablet is an opportunity to hit that yellow and orange button and ask for a recovery coach.
Okay.
There's a CCAR Recovery Community Center in New London.
Yes, there is.
New in the last year.
Oh, there is.
And yeah, it's actually there. So it's people that, there's coaches there all the time. There are people that are there to support you. You probably find some people in recovery that will go to the gym with you, that kind of thing. The kind of positive people that you were just talking about, right?
Right.
That's what's really important. I'm glad that you were able to take the DV program, Voices, and the literacy program. Employment, from what I read, you don't really have a plan when it comes to employment.
Well, through this rehabilitation, I worked in the kitchen. Now, post release, I'm going to go through the job coordinator at a halfway house, or a temp agency or career center that hires felons, so that they can provide me with a job in any field, whether it's general maintenance or, you know, just manual labor.
And that's important. I'm glad that you said that. It puts forward thinking into the mix here. I just, when I read about your interview with the parole officer, I just didn't get a plan. But that is a plan. What you just laid out there shows forward thinking that way. Madam Chair, I don't have anything further.
Thank you, Mr. Poole. So, Mr. Perez, I just want to continue the conversation that you were having with Mr. Poole, because I read things in your file as well that says things like, I don't need any programs, even in your opening statement, you talked about that you're not going to use it again because you do have those loved ones out in the community. And I say all of that to say this. Do you think that people want to be addicts?
No, I don't think people want to be addicts, but nobody's perfect, and some people been through trauma in their life or past experiences.
I absolutely understand why people are addicts.
Okay.
But my question to you is, do you think they want that? Do you think they want that lifestyle, to be dependent upon a drug?
No, they don't. They
Right.
certainly don't want that. They don't want that, but that willpower, that is beyond them. If they don't put the willpower of putting themselves in a higher power before.
It's that what we're trying to get you to see is that it's bigger than that, Mr. Perez. That prison wouldn't be filled with half the people that are in there if they could just stop doing drugs. People cry in that chair because they wish that they could kick that habit. They wish that it was just as easy as you seem to think that it is. And it's not. Taking money from your kids, stealing from your parents, nobody wants that for themselves. And it is about a choice. So every single day you have to tell yourself, today I'm going to be sober, today I'm going to be sober, but it's not going to be easy. I just want you to know that. You're doing well in there. And I'm glad that you know that your criminal thinking and your way of thinking really are clear indicators of what choices you're going to make. Because you were making some pretty bad choices. You knew full well that you weren't supposed to have contact with this victim, and you called her anyway. You were in here on a violation of protective order, but you called her. I see you violated it 1, 2, 3 times at least, 4. And I see July 31st, February 5th, and February 7th of 2022. Those are the dates that I saw that were on your rap sheet. Were you charged for them? No, but there was some sort of contact that wasn't supposed to be happening. You understand? So I just don't want you to set yourself up for failure, Mr. Perez. You're very young, and I know you think the world is your, oyster, for cliches, but you really need to choose wisely. Okay? Think about the consequences of your actions. Have you heard about the brain science and development, that talk in there?
I haven't heard about the brain science.
So studies have shown that a brain is not fully developed in a person until they're about 26. So, therefore, when they're thinking about the consequences of their actions and stuff like that, since your brain's not fully developed, the chances are you'll make a poor decision rather than a good one. But now you're 29. Your brain's fully developed. You got to know that if I do this, that's going to happen. If I do that, this is going to happen. You have to think that stuff through. And I'm just saying that because you don't have all the answers just yet, but you're working on it. All right, Mr. Rodriguez?
Did you want to say something?
Yes, and that's where I had also spoke about thinking rationally, making rational decisions rather than irrational decisions, and which is the big difference between it's the difference between the consequences and how bad and severe the consequences could be. Because yes, I was aware there was a protective order I don't know if anyone has ever been in my shoes, but I have a beautiful daughter in which I love dearly and always want to be in her life, and being away from her, I've learned it's, I don't know how to explain it. It's just,
No,
it was hard.
listen,
It was hard for me.
You're a
Yes,
father, you
I'm a
love your
father, and
child,
it
you
was
want
hard
to
for
be
me.
an active part of her life.
Right.
That gives you the will to do better and to be better.
So
I understand.
So out in society, when I got these protective orders, I figured that, all right, maybe you just, let me be with her and spend time with her, but things didn't work out as planned, so.
Yeah. A lot of things don't work out as planned. And do you think that sitting here that I haven't made any poor decisions? Well, I do.
Right.
Listen, sometimes I want to eat a burger instead of, paying the bill. And the result of that is, gaining weight and not having stuff. So it happens to all of us. We just have to choose better is what I'm trying to say. That's all. All right. I'm
I
sorry.
don't have any questions.
Great, thank you. So I really do have Mr. Perez voted to parole. He does finish the tier program. He's eligible at December 20th. Did you say, Officer Smellie? I'm sorry, I didn't.
Yes, December
Okay.
2020.
I do have him finishing that tier program prior to his being released, and but I do have him going up at his eligibility. What conditions? I have.
SL without parole officer's permission. Right?
Yep.
Warehouse placement.
Yeah.
And then he had a DV inside, we have one outside.
Yep. I have, do you have your license, sir?
I'm going to pursue getting my driver's license when I get out. I've been studying in the manual, the driver's manual on the tablet.
Mr. Perez, good. Mr. Perez, I just want you to know that parole is different than probation. Parole officers have arresting powers. So if you want to remember we talked about decisions, you don't have a license, that means that what?
Shouldn't be driving.
Exactly. So if you drive and you get pulled over, you could potentially come back to prison. Because that's what they do. You don't have to go before a judge like probation. You come right back to prison. All right. So I'm not gonna be driving. Halfway house, no alcohol, no victim, and domestic violence.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. With regard to Samuel Miranda Perez, 417-185, I move to grant discretionary parole on his eligibility December 20th, 2024, with the following conditions in addition to standard parole conditions: no contact with your victim. Her initials are SL. You'll be released to a halfway house or residential placement if you need that. No consumption of an alcoholic beverage, and you will do domestic violence in the community. Did I say everything, Colin?
SL without parole officer's permission.
SL without parole officer permission. Thank you. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, Mr. Perez, congratulations. You've been voted to parole. We wish you the best. Finish that tier program, okay?
Yes, I have another. Can I say something? So when I pled guilty, right, the protective order was dropped, and I may state the victim is my daughter's mother. So in order for me,
again, we didn't say you couldn't have any contact with her, sir. We said you need to get permission from the parole officer.
Oh, okay.
That's what we're saying. We're not saying strict no contact.
Correct. Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank
Good
you.
luck, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
This concludes the hearing for Samuel Miranda Perez, 417-185. You're all set. You received this in writing.
Just like see that. So.
Mr. Orengo, good morning.
Good morning.
You can take your mask off. You're the only one in the room, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's great. We're about to start. Good morning, my name is Parole Officer Smellie. Today is October 18th, and this is a hearing of the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Parole. The following board members are present this morning, and by stating their names on the record, certified they have reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Good morning, I'm panel member Barry.
Good morning, Mike Paul.
Good morning, panel member Rodriguez.
Please state your name and inmate number for the record, sir.
Orengo 440670.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Jamar Orango, 440-670. He is serving a sentence of 10 years execution suspended after 5 years jail with 10 years probation of illegal sexual contact with a minor. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of 12/27/2024 at 50%. There's no victim input in this case. He is, as of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of 12/27/2024 at 50%. There's no victim input in this case. The offender has an offender accountability plan. A review of the plan shows he has completed short-term sex treatment. He reported he's currently participating in the GED program and is also participating in the vocational program for barbering and remains on the wait list for the other remaining OAP programs, utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system scores. The offender overall score for recidivating falls within the moderate range. Mr. Orengo was not scored on the static 99R. He was not an appropriate candidate for the static 99R and the SO tips. For the following reason, client does not meet the age criteria to score the static 99R at the time of his offense. Mr. Orengo, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may get.
How you call it? I got a family out there, you know. I feel like I've lost a lot of time in here. You know, my support system is big out there. And then, like, I've learned a lot of stuff in here. I've been through a lot of experiences too, you know.
Elaborate on a lot. You have to be more than just general.
Yeah, is there any way I can say it in Spanish? Because in English it's kind of difficult.
We can, I don't know if our interpreter is here. You know?
I can check. Mr. Orengo, at the time of your interview, you speak perfect English.
Yeah, but right now I'm kind of like, you know, a 50-50 situation where my English is just like to say the words that I want to say. You know.
I will check to see Madam Chair is available.
Yeah, I mean, we can send an email. No, he is. He's saying that he's not comfortable though, and I don't want him to move forward if he's not comfortable with without an interpreter. And if we have to continue his case, then we have to continue his case.
His eligibility date's not until December 26th anyway.
Right, exactly.
So
We could, I could try, you know.
You just need to give us a little bit more information about what it is that you say you've learned, Mr. Orengo, since your time there. What are the things that you've learned?
Today I woke up and I spoke to the guy in church and he was like, yo, like, accept your mistakes, you know, stop hiding from the truth. I mean, yeah, and just accept yourself for who you are. So, you know, I accept myself for my mistakes. You know, I'm sorry for, you know, the crime that was committed and all that. And yeah, man, this is my first time in jail, you know. I've learned that this is not my place. I don't
Do you think
belong.
the other people in there want to be in prison?
No.
Well, I don't think any of them think that that's their place, is the point that I'm trying to make. But nonetheless, sir, what will happen is each of us will take an opportunity to ask you some questions. I'm going to start with the questions, and then when we're done, we'll deliberate and we'll give you our decision, okay?
Okay.
So first off, let me just say that our jobs here today are not to determine your guilt nor innocence. Okay, you understand that, right? Our job is to determine whether or not you are suitable for discretionary parole. And how we determine if you're suitable is through your program participation, your behavior in the facility, the things that you say that you've learned, and accountability. So I'm going to assume that the person that you spoke to today, I'm sure they knew that you had your discretionary parole coming, and they were like, man, just tell the truth.
Yeah.
Accept responsibility. So I'm going to I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I know that you've been denying these crimes for quite some time. So now I'm assuming that you're accepting that you did commit these offenses against this person.
Yeah, I took the offer, so yeah.
That's not what I asked you.
Oh.
That's not what I asked you. I'm asking you if you did the things that this victim says that you did to her.
No. I'm sorry. I'm not accepting that, but I'm accepting the fact that, you know, I took the offer, so, you know.
Okay. Why did you take the offer?
In that time, like, I didn't have no mind. I didn't know really nothing about the world like that. I wasn't focused on this situation that was going on. I didn't know it was that big. You know, it was my first time. Like, I didn't know.
So you didn't fully understand. Is that what you're telling us?
Like,
so Mr. Orengo, you're 21 years old, and I'm going to tell you something about life right now. You're not done with this sentence until 2027. After that, you have 10 years of probation to follow your sentence, in addition to the 10 years that you have to be on the sex offender registry. So, like I said to you, we're not here to determine your guilt or innocence, but because you accepted this plea, to us, this is the crime that you've committed. And unless you go back to the courts and petition to get this modified or expunged or however you want to handle it, you've pled guilty to it. And so that's how we move forward. You understand that? Okay. So, yes. Okay. So, do you still want an interpreter, Mr. Orengo?
Yeah. Yeah. To some of the words that I don't understand. Yeah.
Mr. Orengo? We have the interpreter here, so we're gonna start over, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that you will faithfully discharge according to law your duties as an interpreter to the best of your ability, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury?
I do.
Good morning, my name is Parole Officer Smellie. Today is Friday, October 18th, and this is a hearing of the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Parole. Following board members are present this morning and by state their names on the record, certified they have reviewed all statutory required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Buenos días, soy el oficial de libertad condicional Smellie. Hoy es viernes 18 de octubre del 2024 y esta es una audiencia de la Junta de Indultos y Libertad Condicional de Connecticut. Los miembros de la Junta están presentes esta mañana y al decir sus nombres en el registro, certifican haber revisado todos los documentos legalmente requeridos e información pertinente disponible en preparación a esta audiencia.
Panel Member Barry, good morning.
Good morning, Mike Pohl.
Panel Member Rodriguez, good morning.
Please state your rank, your name and inmate number for the record.
Por favor, decir su nombre y número de confinado para el registro.
Jhomar Orengo 440670.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Jamar Orango 440670. He is serving a sentence of 10 years, execution suspended after 5 years jail with 10 years probation to follow for illegal sexual contact. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of December 27, 2024 at 50%. There is no victim input in this case. The offender has an offender accountability plan. A review of the plan shows he has completed short-term sex treatment program. He reported he's currently participating in the GED and barbering program and remains on the wait list for the remainder of the OAP programs. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system scores, the offender overall score for recidivating falls within the moderate range. Mr. Orengo was not scored on the static 99R. He was not an appropriate candidate for the static 99R and the SO tip. For the following reason, client does not meet the 8 requirement to score for the static 99R. Mr. Orengo, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted.
Esta audiencia se está llevando a cabo en consideración a la aplicación de libertad condicional de Jamar Orango, número 440670. Él está sirviendo una sentencia de 10 años, ejecución suspendida después de 5 años de prisión, seguido de 10 años de libertad provisional por contacto sexual ilegal. Hasta el día de hoy, los expedientes reflejan una fecha de elegibilidad para libertad condicional del 27 de diciembre del 2024 a un 50%. No hay testimonio de víctima en este caso. Hay un plan de responsabilidad para el ofensor, el cual ha sido revisado y demuestra que el ofensor ha completado los siguientes programas. Programa de ofensor sexual a corto plazo, está actualmente participando en un programa de GED y programa de barbería, además de estar en la lista de espera para los otros programas en su OIP. Utilizando el sistema colaborativo estatal de evaluación de riesgos del ofensor, el puntaje general del ofensor cae dentro del rango moderado de riesgo de reincidencia. Mr. Orengo no recibió puntaje en el Static 99R, ya que él no era un candidato apropiado por las siguientes razones. No cumplía con la criteria debido al del Static 99R. Mr. Orengo, esta es su oportunidad para explicarle a la Junta por qué piensa se le debe conceder libertad condicional. Puede comenzar.
Bueno, pues soy young. Yo tengo mucho afuera, o sea, he perdido mucho tiempo aquí adentro. Tengo una familia allá afuera. He estado ya demasiado aquí adentro. Le pido perdón a toda mi gente de allá afuera.
Deme un momento, por favor. I am young. I have lost a lot of time inside here. I have a family outside waiting for me. Continúe.
Como te digo, estoy haciendo mucho ahora mismo y esta es mi primera vez preso, o sea, no sé cómo manejar esta situación, nada. ¿Entiendes? Y tampoco he tenido la ayuda necesaria aquí adentro. Bueno, desde que empecé, y para ahora estoy bien. Y
I am doing a lot of things right now. This is my first time in prison. I do not know how to handle this, and I do not feel like I receive the help that I needed. Continúe.
pues si se me da la oportunidad, pues ya tengo un trabajo fijo allá afuera. Tengo que, ¿me entiendes? Tengo que cuidar a mi hija allá afuera, ¿me entiendes? Ella me necesita, mi familia me necesita.
I have a job waiting for me outside. If I was released, I need to take care of my daughter. She needs me.
Y pues sí, ¿me entiendes? Ya estoy dispuesto a hacer lo que sea para salir de aquí. Y pues sí, ya creo que fue suficiente.
I am willing to do anything that I need to do in order to get out of here, and I think that is enough.
Is that the end of your statement, Mr. Orengo?
Eso sería
Yeah.
todo.
You asked for the interpreter, so let her interpret, okay? Thank you. Go ahead. You can say what I said.
Usted requirió un intérprete, así que debe esperar que pueda interpretar lo que usted dice.
Thank you. So, I have a few problems with your opening comments, sir. One of the things the very last thing that you said is very concerning to me. You've done all that you can, and that's enough. Is that what you said?
It's not what I meant to say.
Go ahead, Ms. Rivera.
Tengo unos cuantos problemas con sus comentarios de apertura, específicamente la última parte donde usted mencionó que usted ha hecho ya varias cosas y piensa que esto es suficiente. ¿Es esto correcto?
Sí, fue lo que dije, pero no, o sea, tiene doble sentido.
Yes, that's what I said, but it has a double meaning.
How so?
Okay,
¿Cómo?
so ahora mismo, estoy haciendo cosas, ¿me entienden? Quiero terminar la escuela y quiero terminar eso, pero, ¿me entiendes? No sé cómo decirlo, pero ahora mismo le estoy dando lo mejor de mí y no sé si eso se ve, por eso lo dije, estoy intentando, ¿me entiendes?
Right now, I am doing different things. I want to finish school. I do not know how to say it, but I am giving the best of me. And that's what I was trying to say. I do not know if you guys can see it.
So, Mr. Orengo, before you requested an interpreter, I really think that we were on a very positive path. I'm almost certain that you understood what I was saying, and I think that when we started talking about your admittance of the offenses, you asked to get an interpreter, which is fine. But I think that my colleagues and myself recognize that this is your only offense. You've done well since you've been in the facility. You've taken the programs. We've talked about your guilt or innocence. That's not our job. I apologize, Ms. Rivera.
Mr. Orengo, entiendo que estábamos en un camino positivo cuando estábamos hablando con usted al comienzo. Entiendo que cuando empezamos a hablar acerca de usted admitir su culpabilidad, ahí fue que usted requirió un intérprete. Mi colega y yo reconocemos que esta es una ofensa y que usted ha estado haciendo las cosas bien en la facilidad. And what was the last part?
But we were talking about guilt or innocence. Did you say that? Yes.
Estábamos hablando acerca de si usted era culpable o inocente
And that how that's not our jobs.
y cómo eso no es nuestro trabajo.
Right. And so we talked about suitability, right? And how we're here to determine whether or not you're suitable for discretionary parole.
Entonces nosotros hablamos acerca de cuán, si usted merece ser puesto en libertad condicional. Y eso es lo que estamos hablando en el día de hoy. ¿Cómo usted merece ser puesto en libertad condicional?
Right.
Porque merece la oportunidad.
Right. So I said all of that to say that none of us were there, so we really can't determine whether you did it or you didn't. However, there are professionals out in the community that if you did do it, they will be able to get you to admit that you did it. And if you did not do it, then they will determine that as well.
Con esto, habiendo dicho esto, nosotros no estábamos en ese lugar, nosotros no sabemos si usted cometió la ofensa o no, pero sí hay profesionales afuera que si usted lo hizo pueden determinar si en realidad usted lo hizo y si no lo hizo también pueden determinarlo.
Thank you. And so as far as the guilt or innocence and the admittance or denial, that's beyond our realm. Like, that's not our jobs. I can tell you that, as I stated, you've done the programs. I would have loved to hear you talk about the victim and how this has impacted her. However, based on what I've read, I still believe that you would benefit from discretionary parole so that you can start the treatment.
Al determinar su culpabilidad o su inocencia está fuera de nuestro control, eso no es nuestro trabajo. Usted ha tomado los programas. Aún así me hubiese gustado que usted hubiese hablado acerca de la víctima y de cómo esto la ha impactado. Yo pensaba y aún pienso que usted se beneficiaría de una oportunidad de libertad condicional.
Thank you. Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Orengo, the programs that you took the short-term sex offender program, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Orengo, usted tomó el programa de ofensor sexual a corto plazo, ¿esto correcto?
Sí.
You have not taken voices and you have not taken good intentions, bad choices.
Usted no ha tomado voices y tampoco ha tomado el programa de Good Intentions and Bad Choices.
No. I'm
Well,
gonna wait
clear
on
on
this.
I want to be clear on that. Thank you for saying that, for sharing that.
Por decir esto, lo tomó en la presión.
Do you think that you need more programming to help you out when you come out?
¿Usted entiende que usted necesita más programas para que lo ayude cuando usted salga?
No. Es un 50-50. Sí, puedo usar algunos, sí.
It's a 50-50. Some programs will be useful.
Thank you so much. Thank you for answering my question, Mr. Orengo. Good luck to you.
No,
Thank you,
thank-
Mr. Rodriguez.
I don't have any questions.
Thank you. For Mr. Poole has no questions. So I'm willing to give Mr. Orengo an opportunity on discretionary parole. Yes, he does have other things on his OAP that he could complete. He's working on his GED. He can continue that before he's eligible for parole in December. So I have no minors, which I know it's going to be an issue because his daughter, but that's going to be to be determined by the parole officer. No victim, problem sexual behavior treatment, no co-defendant without parole officer's permission, and a halfway house. Is there anything else?
Agreed.
Do you want to interpret that, Ms. Rivera, or do you want me to make the motion? Okay.
Que pienso darle la oportunidad en mi libertad condicional discrecional en el día de hoy. Entiendo que hay programas en el OEP que usted se puede beneficiar de ellos, pero mientras tanto usted puede continuar atendiendo el programa de GED y las condiciones que pondría serían no contacto con menores, pero sé que está su hija, solo voy a dejar a manos del oficial de supervisión, no contacto con la víctima, ubicación en Halfway House.
Sí.
Programa de manejo de conducta para ofensor sexual.
Thank you. With regard to Jhomar Orengo 440670, I move to grant discretionary parole on or after December 27th, 2024, with the following conditions in addition to standard parole conditions. You are to have no contact with minors without the parole officer's permission. You will have no contact with your victim, initials G.A. or the mother, B.M. And problem sex behavior treatment in the community, no contact with your co-defendant, Excel Orengo Velez, without the parole officer's permission, and a halfway house, because we were unable to confirm your mom as a sponsor.
Right.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. All right.
This concludes.
Nope. He has to, she has to interpret.
En el caso de Jhomar 440670, hacemos una moción para otorgar su salida bajo libertad condicional en o después de su elegibilidad de diciembre 27 del 2024 con las siguientes condiciones. No contacto con la víctima EA o la madre de la víctima VM, son sus iniciales. No contacto con menores sin el permiso de su oficial de supervisión. Programa de manejo sexual en la comunidad. No contacto con los coacusados, Excel Orengo Perez, ya que no pudimos confirmar su patrocinador, publicación en Halfway House.
Thank you. Do you understand everything, Mr. Orengo?
Yes, I do.
Right. Good luck to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
This concludes the hearing for Jamar Orango, 670. Mr. Orengo, you will receive all this in writing, okay?
Thank you, Officer. Thank you.
I'm good to go.
You're all set.
Mr. Rivera,
Good morning.
good morning. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Good morning. My name is Parole Officer Smellie. Today is Friday, October 18th, and this is the hearing of the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Parole. The following board members are present this morning and by stating their names on the record certify they have reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Good morning, I'm Panel Member Barry.
Morning, Mike Paul.
Good morning, panel member Rodriguez.
Please state your name and inmate number for the record, sir.
Jonathan Rivera, 380746.
This hearing is being conducted of the parole application for Jonathan Rivera, inmate 380746. He is federal sentence of 4 years jail for a violation of a protective order. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of February 24th, 2025 at 50%. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan. Review of the plan show he has completed Alternative to Violence, Basic and Advanced Domestic Violence Program and has been employed since his incarceration. Mr. Rivera is currently employed in the print shop, utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system. The offender overall score for the SRT falls within the moderate range of risk for recidivism. Mr. Rivera, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Good morning to you all.
Thank you.
I would first like to thank the board for allowing me the opportunity to be heard today. I would like to start by saying I accept full responsibility for the actions that led to my incarceration. I have strived for self-improvement and have become more focused on myself as I continue to grow each and every day through positive influence and behavior changes that have led to a more productive lifestyle. I want to be a better person, and I believe I have the tools to be a positive and productive citizen in society. I completed the domestic violence program, in which I learned that my actions not only affect me, but those around me as well. I was able to identify characteristics of a healthy relationship and found that utilizing positive self-talk helps me able to have positive thoughts and keep a positive perspective. I also learned that every action I make has a consequence, and utilizing consequential thinking will prevent me from making wrong choices in the future. I have also completed the Alternative to Violence basic and advanced workshops, which taught me effective ways of dealing with conflicts creatively and without violence. I also learned multiple ways to prevent situations from escalating or becoming violent using a technique called transforming power. Transforming power gives you many ways to come up with a nonviolent solution to almost any problem when approached with a caring attitude towards others. It has taught me to listen before making judgments, patience, and building community based on honesty, respect, and being caring. It also taught me to expect the best, respect myself, and above all, think before reacting. I have been working 5 days a week for the past 7 months and counting. I started off working in laundry and was promoted within my first month to the head of the table, which has taught me valuable skills like responsibility, organization, maintaining a positive attitude, as well as working in a group setting, being a team player. I reclassified to the print shop last month, which now allows me to work more hours, up to 6 days a week, which shows my versatility and desire to do better. Above all, I have learned the value of hard work and maintaining a good work ethic, and I've established a balance between work programs and self-improvement time to help prepare me for the responsibility and determination needed to function in society, and that has changed my outlook on life. When I'm not working, I utilize my time productively by exercising, reading self-help books, reading the Bible, and attending church. I take time to reflect on my growth, and I'm constantly planning for my future. I listen to Motiversity, Quote of the Day, Real Vita TV, and Success After Prison, which are just a few podcasts that are aimed at self-improvement. I constantly strive to eat healthy and remain disciplined in order to keep my blood sugars and diabetes well controlled, because I understand if I'm not healthy and if I don't take care of myself, then I will physically not be able to accomplish any of my goals. My health is a huge priority of mine, so I plan on taking care of myself so I can be a valuable asset to the community. We've all heard having idle time is the devil's playground, and having and maintaining a routine keeps me busy, focused on my goals, and continues to motivate me to have a positive future I can look forward to. Staying busy also helps keep me from being distracted, which is also preparing me to be disciplined enough and acquire good habits in order to avoid the many temptations the world can throw at us. I no longer see mistakes as quote unquote the end of the world. Now I see mistakes as learning curves to help me figure out where I went wrong and what corrections are needed in order for me to not make the same mistake again. I used to view my incarceration as a negative, but as I continue to grow, I begin to see it now as a blessing in disguise, an opportunity to regain control of my life. Although I received a ticket for flagrant disobedience during my first month of incarceration, which was November 2022, I accepted responsibility for it, apologized to the officer who wrote the ticket, and didn't look back because I realized there's nothing we can do to change the past. So it is wiser to accept it, learn from it, and move forward upon my journey of bettering myself. I have not received any discipline reports since, going on 2 years ticket-free, which shows my growth, maturity, as well as my respect for authority. Not to mention, I'm considered to be a role model inmate by staff members for displaying leadership type behavior to both staff and other inmates, which shows my compassion, empathy, and ability to care for others. I have also improved my relationship with my family, and that gives me the support needed to overcome obstacles in the future. I planned on going back to work at Sardilli's warehouse upon my release. I was working there prior to my incarceration and through my hard work and good work ethic. At the time, the owner has given me a steady position. I also plan on going back to school to start my sophomore year in sports and medical science with the plan to obtain my associate degree. Prior to my incarceration, I was attending Central Connecticut State University, where I transferred from Manchester Community College and maintained a 3.0 good grade point average. I plan to use my degree to become a physical trainer or even land a career in the sports business. I was scheduled for my driver's license prior to my incarceration and plan on going back to get it, then working towards obtaining my Class A CDL license so I have something to fall back on. I plan to use my free time when I'm not working or going to school to volunteer at the fire department, as well as schedule to see a psychiatrist regularly to maintain good mental health. I also plan to continue going to church and Bible study to maintain a solid foundation. I believe I should be granted parole because I've always been told actions speak louder than words. And this will be an opportunity for me to capitalize on and prove to everybody that I changed my life for the better and that I'm an improved man that's not just talking jail talk. I can go on all day about my self-improvement or tell you what I've learned in a program, but I truly believe change comes from within. And the real test is going to be when I'm actually released, so I can demonstrate and prove that I was deserving of this opportunity. I am ambitious, I have goals, and I have a plan. All I'm asking for is a chance to prove myself, and I can guarantee you it will not be something you will regret. I believe I have so much more to offer the community and plan to abide by any parole stipulations asked of me. With that, I'd like to thank the entire board for your time and consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rivera, for your statement. You covered a lot of ground. We heard about your aspirations and goals and your intentions when you're out in the community. And I would challenge you to keep that letter with you and read it when you feel like things aren't going as planned, and remind yourself of some of the things you would like to accomplish in the way that you were feeling when you were in here. Maybe it'll deter you from returning. So what will happen is each of us will take turns asking you questions. When we are done, we'll deliberate and give you our decision. And Mr. Rodriguez will start.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Rivera, you've answered obviously a lot of the questions in your opening statement, talking about you've accepted responsibility. I do want to know a little bit more about that, but you've accepted responsibility. You've talked about your educational goals. You've talked about your career goals. The fact that you haven't had a ticket in the last couple of years. And you talked about your aspirations and the things that you want to do and you want to get done and some of the things that you learned from the programming that you've taken. But what I didn't hear from you was any remorsefulness around the victim in this particular situation. I heard you accept responsibility. I'm not sure what you accept responsibility for, because as I read your documents, I think you were denying assaulting her. And I'm trying to kind of just work that through. And again, I hear you accept the responsibility. I didn't hear a more specific, even apology or, to the victim in this particular situation, which was the only thing I saw missing in this whole thing, just so you know.
Well, I do apologize to you. And of course, I'm sorry for what I did. But I do, like I stated in my statement, every action has a consequence. And I accepted responsibility for my actions. And me and my ex-girlfriend, we don't talk anymore, but we ended on good terms. Like, I can say that I suffered and I went through what I went through only because I was immature at the time. I was disloyal. I was dishonest. And I really wasn't worried about the other person's feelings at that time, and that's what caused me to call her when I shouldn't call her, because I was only trying to worry about me, when I've spoken to her on the phone, she's never stated anything that, all I've heard from her was, I love you. I don't know why you're, I wish you could come out.
she's told me that she's went to the court to try to drop all, like, the violation of protective order. I'm innocent of an assault charge, and I was claiming that since day one. But like I said, those things happen due to my immaturity, my dishonesty, my disloyalness, because on the other foot, the shoes on the other foot, I mean, it would get me upset if I had a girlfriend that was always, picking up the phone or talking to other guys when I'm around and not giving me the respect. And I just feel like that I was disrespectful on that behalf, because I was in a relationship, but I was still talking to other girls. I was cheating, and I accept full responsibility. I know it was what I was doing that was causing all these problems.
Well, listen, like I said before, you answered all my questions. I'm not sure you answered the question I just asked, but I guess you did. I appreciate you answering the one question I did have, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Is it hot in there, Mr. Rivera?
Not really. I don't know. You probably see me sweating. I'm just a little nervous. That's all.
Yeah, no, everybody though. They're all like
Yeah.
flushed faced and sweating. So I just didn't know if it was hot in there. All right, Mr. Poole.
I have no question about it. Sherry did a great job.
He did do a great job with the opening statement.
Thank
And
you.
there was something that I did want to ask him, and I forgot just that quickly. So wait, okay. So did I read this correctly? So you're denying that you stabbed this victim?
Yeah, I'm innocent of that charge. I was never
So
convicted
how
of
does he
that
get the
charge.
stab wound?
I'm not 100% sure. That's not a question that I can answer.
Okay. So you were charged on in November of 22 for an assault one. Why did they charge you with that?
Like I said before, is maybe it was due to my dishonesty, me being disloyal, and my immaturity.
Stop. So wait a minute. So your girlfriend was stabbed in the neck, chest, and head, and you don't know how she got those?
Well, I wasn't living with her at this time. I had been moved out and went to live with my uncle. And I honestly don't know.
What did she tell you?
She told me to this day, when I did speak to her on the phone, because I didn't even realize that I had the warrant until the warrant came out. I was initially arrested for a motor vehicle charge.
I know, I saw that.
And in the motor vehicle charge, she was in the car with me. So I mean, if I really harmed her, I don't feel like she would be with me in a car.
Well, you'd be surprised.
She wouldn't pick up the phone.
You'd be surprised.
You took domestic violence, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Voices would have helped him see it a little bit clearer, but that doesn't negate when people are, anyway. So give us a few minutes to talk about your case, Mr. Rivera.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr.
Madam
Rodriguez.
Chair, thank you. I did have an issue with the denial of but it wasn't Ollie. The case was not that particular assault was not. His opening statement really, for me, reflected a lot of what he has learned since he's been in. As I shared before, he accepted responsibility initially. He's got educational goals and done some education. He's got a career goal that he wants to take. It's not had taken the last almost 2 years. As you shared as well, he has aspirations to do better and to do well. I would be in favor of his discretionary parole today because he doesn't really get out until February of 25. I would suggest to him that he maybe take some additional program while he's waiting that time period to help him out when he gets out. But I would be willing to support his discretionary parole today.
Thank you, Mr. Paul.
I agree.
I do too. I don't know what's wrong with me. All right. So for conditions, I have domestic violence, a halfway house. His uncle wasn't confirmed, but we'll do that halfway house just in case, and no contact with the victim.
Yeah.
All right. So with regard to Jonathan Rivera, 380746, I move to grant discretionary parole on or after his earliest eligibility, which is February 24th, 2025. With the following conditions, in addition to standard parole conditions: domestic violence in the community, no contact with your victim, Initials are GL, and a halfway house if needed. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. So, Mr. Rivera, this is going to give you a little over a year to finish out this, well, 2 years, actually. My math is wrong. Good luck to you, sir. I would recommend that you utilize your parole officer as a resource.
Thank you so much.
Good luck.
This concludes the hearing for Jonathan Rivera, 380746. You'll receive all this in writing, Mr. Rivera. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Have a great one.
Good morning, Mr. Santiago.
Good morning.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Good morning. My name is Parole Officer Smellie. Today is Friday, October 18, 2024, and this is the hearing of the Connecticut Board of Pardons of Parole. All the board members are present this morning and by state their names and the record certified they have reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Good morning, panel member Barry.
Good morning, Mike Paul.
Morning, panel member Rodriguez.
Please state your name and inmate number for the record, sir.
Luis Santiago, 314541.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Luis Santiago, 314541. He is serving a sentence of 10 years execution suspended after 3.5 years of jail with 5 years probation to follow for 2 counts of sale of narcotic substance and a violation of probation with the underlying conspiracy to commit assault second. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of December 2nd, 2024 at 50%. There's no victim input in this case. The offender has an offender accountability plan. A review of the plan shows he has completed voices and is currently participating in vocational for barbering. And he's currently waitlisted for the remaining programs. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system score, the offender overall score for recidivate falls within the high range. Mr. Santiago, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Yeah, I got a letter. Good morning, parole board. I would like to express how grateful I am for getting the chance to speak in front of all of you today. Currently, I am incarcerated for violation probation and 2 narcotics sales. I take full responsibility for committing these crimes, and I am understanding the impact that this has on the community. The sentence I received for my charges was 3.5 years. While incarcerated, I completed voices and also voluntarily signed up for Tier 4, which I am currently enrolled in. I now understand the destruction that drugs have on the community, on people and their families. I have battled an opiate addiction for several years and now see that I had a very serious problem as well. I maintain my habit by selling drugs to other fathers, brothers, sons, etc. I see the error of my ways and I am learning to deal with my problems without the use of drugs. I have an amazing support system. I have an amazing support system consisting of my mother, brother, sisters, children, and the mother of my children. I plan on going to a halfway house where I can find stable employment, attend NA, and get in an IOP program that will help me expand my knowledge on how to maintain my sobriety. Getting back on my feet is very important to me. A halfway house will give me the support I need to ensure I have a successful route into the community if I'm not able to go back to my hometown. Since being here for my sentence, I have received 2 DRs, one for not being able to produce urine sample, and the other one was for out of place in the child hall for sitting in a different table.
I accept full responsibility for getting these DRs, and since then been staying out of trouble and working on myself. The program I've been in have taught me a lot. I have completed the Voices program. The program have made me stop and think about the effect that my actions have on people that surrounded me. I have remorse for the crimes I've committed, and I'm working to be better. I've been working to better myself so I don't harm anyone or commit other crimes. Since being in the Tier 4 program, I have been working on the tools I need to help me do what I need to become successful and a contributing member of society. I have just recently introduced to the NA Fellowship. I'm starting to get accustomed to the readings and daily meetings. When I do get out into the community, my first focus is going to be working with my brother immediately upon release. I will also be looking for other jobs. I have experience in many trades that will help me. In my extra time, I'm going to attend drug meetings so I will gain a bigger support network and stay around the right people. And also going to spend time with my kids and my family to repair the bond I seem to have damaged. Occupying time and reconnecting is most important for me for my recovery plan. I am extremely grateful I'm getting this chance. I believe I deserve to speak to you today and voice the reason I feel I deserve to be paroled. This incarceration have made me have a different outlook of life and my actions. I have taken my program seriously and from this time has bettered me. If granted parole, I know my every action is going to have effects, and my future success relies on my every thought. I will ensure all of you today, I will only give my 100% effort on my success when released from jail. My plans for my recovery and to maintain my freedom is too crucial to me. The pressure is on me now, and I won't let you down. I will complete parole if granted. I would like to thank you all once again for seeing me today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Santiago, for that opening statement. You covered a lot of ground. So what's going to happen here is each of us we're going to take an opportunity to ask you some questions. When we are done with our questions, we will deliberate and then we'll give you our decision, okay? Best of luck to you, sir, and Mr. Pohl is going to begin with questions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Mr. Santiago.
Good morning.
When did you start Tier 4?
I started Tier 4 like close to a month now.
So you're 1 month into a 6-month program?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know what your biggest struggle out there was, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you right now that I'm not in a place to vote you to parole today. You know, it's really incredibly important that you finish up that Tier 4 program, right? You're out there on probation and you were really struggling with dirty urines and stuff like that. What you said during your opening remarks about how important recovery is, and you started getting acclimated to NA and things like that. That's what you're going to find in the Tier 4 program. You'll get more and more of that, and that would give you the groundwork to be able to come out and be successful, right?
Okay.
But for me, it's like I don't want to take you out of just the beginning of a program that could help change the direction of your life. And instead of coming to prison, get out there and do the right thing. As you said, you know, you got experience in trade, so you have things that you can do. You know, you get to a halfway house, you start making money, you get set up to be successful, and things like that, and such. The one thing that I do want to say to you is that while you're in tier 4 there at Osborn, CCAR is around there all the time. I'm not interested in you becoming a recovery coach.
I mean,
Listen. What I'm interested in is for you to connect with CCAR so that you can set up a plan for when you're released so that you can have a coach, right? So that you can have the support that you need when you go back into the community. All right? So that's just where I am. And certainly as you go through the next phases of tier 4, there's a lot of things that I would ask you today that you're going to have a totally different outlook on once you get through those things. You're going to be able to reflect and understand behavior and things like that in a better way, as long as you pay attention and apply yourself. Okay? Does that make sense?
yes.
I don't have anything further.
Thank you, Mr. Poole. So, Mr. Santiago, I'm along the same lines. I have you coming back. I want you to finish the program. That was one of the reasons why I had you denied, because you didn't have the program participation. It really does sound, though, like you are on the cusp of change. You're headed in the right path. So I would deny you today as well, but I would definitely have you come back. Okay, Mr. Rodriguez?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would also acknowledge the same thing. Mr. Santiago, it looks like you're headed in a good direction. You finish the program, see if that helps you out. If there's anything else you can do to kind of, increase your opportunity to transition to the community make it a lot easier for you, that's what I would do.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I don't have any questions.
Thank you. So when do you guys, what are your thoughts about it here?
I mean, he's 1 month in right now. If, and you don't sign up for aftercare, but there's the opportunity at the end to remain there for a little while longer to get sea legs, set up a plan on the way out.
That's what.
So if we hear him in April, his end of sentence is somewhere in June of 26 right now.
Mm-hmm.
That would give him a full year on parole prior to his being released to probation. Is that what makes sense?
Right.
I'm
I
out of
just,
Metron. I'm in Metron.
yeah, I know. We know that. We have it listed here. But if you're in the tier 4 program, we want you to finish that program. But I just want to make sure that he has more than enough time to finish.
To finish and to set himself up when he brings it.
Yeah.
So
He's got that in place.
He's a month in now, and it's 5 more months.
Yeah.
December, January, February, March, April.
In May maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking May too.
May.
I was thinking May. So we'll do it 5/1/25, and then hopefully, if he does finish a little earlier, that'll give him more time, even in the aftercare, to gain some extra tools. So before the beginning of, and so my reason for denial: lack of program participation, inadequate. Well, there is some change. Right?
Yeah, there is some change.
So we have the two now that are broken apart.
Yes, right.
So if we do the inadequate institutional program participation,
Yeah.
or institutional adjustment, because
Okay,
two,
right, okay.
and the current offense was committed while on probation,
That's that one.
and that's what it's all about.
Okay. So with regard to Luis Santiago, 314541, I move to deny discretionary parole at this time based on his for institutional adjustment, his offense being committed while on probation, and his inadequate program participation. I further move to rehear this matter in May of 2025, at which time he should have successfully completed the tier program that he's currently enrolled in, tier 4 program, and any other additional programs that he can attend in that time, and no additional disciplinary infractions.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. All right, Mr. Santiago, you'll receive all of this in writing, sir. Keep up the good work. You got to prove yourself a little bit more, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Good job today. Keep that letter.
Thank you.
This concludes the hearing from Santiago. Mr. Santiago, you receive all this in writing, okay?
Okay,
Good luck to you.
thank you. Yeah.
He's all set?
Yeah.
Yes, he's all set.
Okay, thank you.
I have to skip a person because they're not here yet. I have Ward.
That's fine. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Come on, Ward. You ready?
Hello, how y'all doing?
Hi, Mr. Ward. How are you?
Good, how y'all doing today?
Doing great. We're about to start. Good afternoon. My name is Parole Officer Smellie. Today's Friday, October 18, 2024, and this is a hearing of the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Parole. The following board members are present this afternoon, and by stating their names on the record, certify they have reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Good afternoon. I'm panel member Barry.
Good afternoon, Mike Paul.
Good afternoon, panel member Rodriguez.
Please state your name and inmate number for the record.
Good afternoon, I'm Ryan Ward, 408108.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Ryan Ward 408108. He is serving a sentence of 10 years, execution suspended after 4 years jail with 4 years probation to follow for strangulation / suffocation second, 2 counts of violation of protective order, burglary second, and assault third. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of February 12, 2025 at 85%. There's no victim input in this case today. The offender has an offender accountability plan. A review of the plan shows the offender has completed voices, domestic violence, alternatives to violence, and alternatives to violence advanced workshop. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system scores, the offender overall score for recidivate falls within the moderate range. Utilizing the static 99R, the offender overall score for sexual offense recidivism falls within the moderate to high range. Mr. Ward, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin, sir.
Okay, honestly, I feel like I should get parole because before I was a liability, like, to the community. Now I feel like I'm an asset. I could help people that's going through stuff or, you know, on the verge of the wrong path and probably lead them the right way because I've been through these things now. So honestly, I just feel like I could be like a role model to certain people now. Like before, I really didn't honestly like care to help people. Like I was just selfish. I was in my own, you know, like my own little selfish ways. I was still like, you know, young-minded. Now being in prison is really gave me the opportunity to like develop myself, social skills, like everything that I need, like to be in the community. So I feel like I'm really an asset now more than a liability.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. So what about the victim? Do you have any remorse for any of your behaviors?
Yes. For my victims, I apologize to my victims. I apologize to their families if they were affected too in any type of way. I apologize to the community and friends. I also want to apologize to my family for letting them down because, you know, it's not easy to, you know, maintain financial support and stuff like that. And they've been doing that. They've been emotionally supporting me. So I want to give them thanks too. And I really want to just let them know, like, their time is not being wasted. I'm in here doing all the things that I need to do to get back to this, to get back to society and be, you know, a good member.
I appreciate that, Mr. Ward. I have to be honest with you, in reviewing your file, it really did seem as if you were out there being a menace, and you seemed really, really angry. And you're right. You said something about your selfish ways and that you were a liability. And I would agree with all that. And I would also agree that you absolutely do have the potential to go back out into the community and be what you said, an asset, be a role model to others, share your story and how you've overcome. And that's very inspirational because we need people like that out in our communities to kind of help those people that were like yourself, who were out there wreaking havoc. So tell us now, how is the relationship? I know one of the victims in your case was your aunt, right?
Yes.
And her husband, which would be your uncle. How's that relationship?
Since incarcerated, I have spoken to her about one time. Her and the husband, they're not really together right now. But I've talking to my aunt. That's my mom's like twin sister. So I've talking to her. She's been going through like health stuff and stuff like that. She be all the time like talking to me like, I need you home or whatever. Because me and her are actually real cool before all these situations occurred. Like that's like my second mom. So like we cool, but like now it's a little bit harder for her because every time I talk to her now, she's like real like sad and stuff like that. She's going through a lot of health scares and stuff. So she just like honestly, all she said to me is like, I just want you to come home and do good this time. I don't want you to mess up. I don't want you to mess up.
Well, guess what, Mr. Ward? That's what we want for you too. We want you to go home and do well. But you know, the fact that you were on probation for a very serious crime, and you went out and committed even more serious crimes. Tell us what fuels this criminal. Is there some residual anger that's hanging around, or some unaddressed trauma?
Honestly, it was drugs and like mental health playing a part. Like,
marijuana does not make you act like that.
Yeah, but it wasn't. I can honestly say it was the alcohol more than the marijuana part. It was really the alcohol part. Like, but with the mental health, like I got people that was passing away, dying, and like people I was really cool with and close with. So like that was kind of taking an effect on me too. And I never actually talked to anybody about this. Like, you get what I'm saying? I never had the time to like counsel and speak to people. So now these programs that like DOC been like providing for me, it's been making me open up more and feel like I can trust people. Like I never trusted people to really like put my business to them. So now it's like it put me in a different light.
A different mindset. And I understand, you know, especially I understand your culture and then you're male, you know, and those are not things that you do. You don't walk around and talk about, oh, I'm sad today, you know, I'm all right. So I'm gonna keep it moving. That's what we do, you know. However, I don't think that I've ever drank any alcohol or smoked any marijuana that would have me chasing people around the house with knives, choking people, breaking people's bones and stuff. So I understand that you were going through a very rough time in your life, but these are really serious, crazy stuff. So, have you had an opportunity to address your grief while you've been in prison?
Yeah, with the AVP program, it's basically like we had time to basically like speak on any situation that was like hindering our process of growth, like if it's a death or is it whatever the situation is. Like we had time to really like just open up and express ourselves to others and feel like we're being heard. Like you get what I'm saying? Like in a group setting. So it was kind of hard at first, but after doing it, like it made me feel better. It made me actually feel better. Like, so I kind of like, I appreciate that.
Mr. Ward, I'm very proud of the work that you've been doing on yourself in there. And it's not for us. It's really for you, because these sentences are only going to get longer and longer, you know, and you don't want to be doing life in prison in installments. You're 29 now. You can turn your life around and go out there and do the right things and make better decisions. How is the relationship with your other victim in here that you broke into our house and threw stuff all over everything? How's that relationship?
My son's mom, me and her, we're cool. I speak to her basically every day. I talk to her and my son every day. She actually wrote me a letter. I guess she said she wrote a letter for you guys or something like that.
So
Yeah,
me and her, like,
we got a
cool.
few support letters on your behalf.
Yeah,
Mr.
me
Ward.
and her, we cool. We real cool. Like, she like my best friend almost now.
Good. Well, keep your hands to yourself. You know, I know you young people, the way that you think, you know, showing that toxic love is love. That's the only true love, and that's not true. You have to learn how to express a healthy love that doesn't involve getting physical when things don't go your way or if somebody's cheating. Or I understand all of that stuff and all the emotions, but it's not right. So I have to tell you, Mr. Ryan, that I'm glad that you made all of these strides. You seem like a very pleasant person. However, I have to be honest with you and say, and again, I am proud and I hear the change. It's just that for me, the nature of your crimes and the fact that you were already under supervision when you committed the crimes, for me, is a little too much to overlook. And the good thing is, though, that you're almost finished with your bid, you know, and that you will have the 4 years of probation out there to prove yourself because, you know, you haven't done that great during the last ones, but I can definitely hear the change. And I just hope that you take heed to what I'm saying. I know no one wants to be told no, but I'm telling you that I'm proud of who you're becoming.
Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Rodriguez?
Madam Chair, I also want to acknowledge your accomplishments too, Mr. Gold. You're still a young man, You know, things that you've done, your accomplishments, the program you've taken.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to acknowledge that from you. I also found your current offenses very serious.
All right.
And I'm glad that, you know, that when you started out your statement, you accepted responsibility.
Yep.
Because I know that when I read some of your stuff, you denied to minimize some of the stuff early on, and it was good to hear that you've kind of changed your thinking in that. So it tells me that you are finally gaining some things out of this experience for yourself. But also these are just like really serious charges.
Yeah.
And I'm finding myself kind of in the same place at this point. And I'm hoping that you utilize whatever time you have left, and it's not a whole lot, because again, you're done, looks like you're done in June. That you utilize this to continue to try to, you know, build on the positive work that you're doing.
Yeah. Can I speak?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm enrolled in the fatherhood program too, and tier 2, and I'm in school. I'm actively enrolled in school. So all these things.
If you can get through some of those, that'd be really good.
Yeah.
So in your transition back into the community.
Yeah.
I want to wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
That's good stuff. Keep working on that stuff, because when you walk out those doors, those will only help you more.
Yeah.
Mr. Cole? Thank you. So, again, so I have nature and circumstance, criminal history, and on probation as reasons for denial.
Yeah.
Right. Anything else? All right. With regard to Ryan Ward 408108, I move to deny discretionary parole at this time based on his criminal history, the nature and circumstance of his current offenses, and his offense was committed while on probation. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right. So, Mr. Ward, listen to what we said. Keep going. You got a lot of good stuff going on. Keep doing it. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Have a blessed day.
You too.
Here for Ryan Ward, 408-108. Okay, come on in. I have some Okie here. You can have a seat.
Okay.
The vote.
Let's get you out of here.
Need to ride home with one of you guys that live out that way.
He's complete a lot of those.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is James Sochocki.
Okay, hold on, Mr. Husky. Just hang tight. I'll tell you when to talk, okay?
Okay.
My name is Parole Officer Smellie. Today is Friday, October 18, 2024, and this is in here. Good afternoon. I apologize. My name is Parole Officer Smellie. Today is Friday, October 18, 2024, and this is a hearing of the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Parole. The following board members are present this afternoon and by stating their names on the record, certified they have reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Good afternoon. I'm panel member Barry.
Good afternoon, Mike Paul.
Good afternoon, panel member Rodriguez.
Good afternoon.
Civil case.
Please state your name and inmate number for the record, sir.
Certainly, James Sochocki, 440943.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for James Sochocki, 440913. He is serving a sentence of 10 years execution suspended after 5 years jail. 10 years probation to follow for sex 4, victim underage, risk of injury to a child and illegal sexual contact. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of September 19, 2024 at 50%. There is no victim input in this case. The offender has an offender accountability plan. A review of the plan shows the offender has completed good intentions, bad choices, anger management, and the short-term sex treatment to date, utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system scores the offender overall score for recidivate falls within the low range. Utilizing the static 99R, the offender overall score for sexual offense recidivism falls within the low range. Mr. Sochocki, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin, sir.
Okay, I'm not too sure how all I'm nervous, I'll be honest with you. And hopefully, all right. I did prepare myself a few things for it. What I did to my granddaughter was wrong and horrible, and it haunted me every day since. I hurt her, my son, her father, and my family. I didn't know or understand how I allowed this to happen and realized I needed outside help and found a therapist having the experience and knowledge. For a year and a half, I met weekly with Martha Newberry. For a 1-hour session, she guided me through the process with her questions and comments. Because of this, it came close to us what the root cause of my behavior happened. I was in a failing marriage relationship for many years and I didn't realize it. Slowly over time, I grew unhappy, frustrated, and depressed. I stopped to drink more and thought it was due to the stress from work. Over time, I drank more with alcohol, which alcohol possessed and controlled me. It replaced unhappiness with happiness. The frustration and depression disappeared. Life was good, except my protective barriers were lowered and bad decisions followed. Just as a side note, on September 28, 2020, I joined AA and stopped drinking, and I have not touched a drop of alcohol since, which is over 4 years. I wish I realized my marriage was failing and attempt to rescue via professional help, or at least not resort to alcohol to bury my problems. My values were compromised and I hurt my granddaughter, who I loved, and she loved me. It is all my fault. I caused a loss of love from her and my friends and families. One of the things I had, one second, please. One of the things that when I interviewed with Mrs. Smellie, is that I gave her copies of the results. I don't know if you've had a chance, otherwise I'll read.
We have. No,
No,
we
we read those documents.
Okay, all right. That was with the therapist, and also too, it was also she made copies of David Amora, MS, LPC, CCSC, his evaluation of me.
Wait, were you just did you just say you were gonna read all that to us?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't.
No.
Anyway,
Well,
go ahead, sir.
Not the one, the 20-page one, but the 4-page one from
You know,
the therapist.
We have it. Thank you, though.
Okay, good. All right. I didn't know what else to present here, so I went to the library and they gave me questions to be addressed. Why should I be approved by the parole board? I am a good person, not a threat to society. I contribute by volunteering my time to a host of organizations, such as Mystic Aquarium. I was a volunteer scuba diver there. Plus I did husbandry every other week. I did that for 7 years. Lions Club out of Branford. I went through all the steps within there, and actually the last 12 years I was a treasurer. So I was always busy. The Zion Episcopal Church, I was a vestry, which is the board of the church. I was in building and grounds. I was on the finance committee. Then we had the nursery school, and I was on the finance committee there.
Mr. Sochocki, I apologize for interrupting you, but we're not here to determine who's a good person and who's a bad person, because I'm sure that there are lots of very good people in that. People just make poor decisions. I think we all understand that. Good people make poor decisions sometimes, and we do have some questions for you. So do you think it's okay that if we get started with our questions?
Of course.
Thank you so much. So what will happen is, I know that you've never been here before, and we'll make this as easy as possible for you. Answer as honestly as you can. We're trying to gauge the level of change since you've been in prison till today, during the commission of your crime. So just, take a couple deep breaths. We're not going to beat you up too bad. And then we'll deliberate and we'll give you our decision. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Sochocki, why don't we talk a little bit about the programming that you've taken? Because that will help us understand a little bit more about what you've learned since you've been there.
Okay, that's one of the questions I had written up in here. But
yeah. So you've taken quite a bit. You've taken good intentions, bad choices.
Yes, I have.
You've taken anger management.
Yes, yeah.
You've taken your short-term sex treatment.
Yeah.
Right.
That was the first one. It was very similar to being with my therapist, but I was able to. With that, it helped me to clarify. Well, I knew. Geez. It helped clarify a lot of stuff. One of the things too was that how bad off my marriage was.
Well, that was actually one of the triggers for you was that relationship, right?
Yeah.
And alcohol played a big.
I wish I knew differently. I would have gone to therapy, but I didn't think of it.
Yeah, but alcohol has also played a big role in this too, right?
Yes, it did. I didn't know I was an alcoholic, and an alcoholic is not this person that just stumbles around whatever. I would say it controlled me, but didn't control me. But it lowered my barriers, things I would never do, never ever do. Alcohol, and that's how come I haven't touched a drop since, because I don't want to go there again, ever.
Yeah, this is.
I don't know if I answered your question. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, I understand the process of addiction, so
saying he's not an addict.
Yeah.
No, I don't do drugs.
Well, but you did alcohol.
I did alcohol.
And to a point where you kind of lost control of what you were able to do or think or act.
Make bad decisions. Yes.
Yeah. While under the influence.
Pardon?
You don't see yourself as an addict. To alcohol.
Oh, to alcohol. Okay. I'm thinking of adding drugs.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's the distinction I thought you were making.
But yes, I was addicted to it. I was addicted to alcohol. Yes.
Okay.
Was I drunk every night? No.
No.
All right. But
you used it to kind of medicate yourself and do those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So, but you didn't take an addiction program. It was on your OP.
This scores a 1.
Yeah.
And I think that's primarily because, as he said, he used alcohol to medicate, to get rid of the pain from the failing marriage. It lowered his inhibitions
Yeah,
and brought him to where he is today.
today.
So
Which
that
is-
doesn't mean addict. It just means that that was his coping mechanism. That was unhealthy, but I don't
Very.
think he recognizes it.
But you did do some AA, well, you did go to AA. Have you
Oh,
done
yeah,
any in the
definitely.
facility? Have you done any in the facility?
No facility, whatever. I went to AA, I showed up there, and I came back the next day and the day after, and I just stopped drinking and start behaving, lack of a better, I'm searching for words right now, you know, and
I can understand your search.
with God's help, and AA, it drove me where I don't want alcohol anymore. I can go right now, all right, because I have, and when people around me drink, I said, listen, go ahead and drink. It doesn't bother me. I don't care. As long as I can have a glass of water or soda, preferably soda. All right?
Okay,
I don't
thank
need
you.
the alcohol.
Thanks for that answer. I'm good. I got that.
Oh,
You're doing fine, Mr.
Yeah.
Cox. Mr.
Yeah, let's take a deep breath.
Sochocki. Sochocki.
What's your current relationship with your family?
my daughter and son-in-law are very helpful. They come up and do visits up here. All right. They live in, well, now they just moved from North Branford to Guilford. We're very close. All right.
This is
my
your son.
middle
This is
child-
your son's daughter. This offense was your son's daughter.
Yes, Scott.
What's
my
your
middle child.
what's your relationship with the victim's family at this point?
Oh, I haven't tried to, you know, I
they
talked a
haven't reached
little
out
bit.
to you?
I have not, they have not reached to me and I have not reached out to them, but I asked Amy, my daughter, to see if I could make amends. And she said, not now, Dad. He's not ready yet. My son Eric down in Florida, you know, I mean, he doesn't come to visit me because it's too far away, but you know, he texts me and I'll call him on the phone.
What is going to be your support system when you come out?
Well, my support system is that's a wide range of it. And my daughter, my son-in-law, my son in Florida, okay, I'm very close with. Definitely, I'm going to be going, I want to go back to my home group in AA and Branford. I went Monday through Friday and sometimes Saturday and Sunday. I will continue that because I got a lot out of that. And, you know, and I also learned to equate myself with God. Because with his help,
Yeah.
I'm where I am today. Not in jail meeting, but from my alcoholism.
Okay. All right.
You know, if I really
You
need to,
realize you're on the lifetime registry.
Yeah, I know. I have it's going to be tattooed on my forehead.
And I know that's going to be probably very difficult for you.
A major stumbling block, yes.
I mean, listen, on the good side, you know, you're this is the first offense for you. You don't
Yeah.
have, you have no tickets, no GRs, no tickets from the facility. So you've
No,
been, you know,
none.
is your plan, what's your plan to support yourself when you come out?
If I need to get a part-time job, work, 2 to 3 days a week, but between my social security, my
Yeah.
pension, and my 401k,
You're good.
I should be able, yes, I am, unless you want figures.
No, I don't want figures. No, I don't need figures. I do want to know how you were going to support yourself on the outside. That's all. Listen, I appreciate you answering my questions. It's just,
Sochocki.
Just say Jim. Just say Jim.
thank you for answering my questions. I'm going to let my colleagues ask whatever they need to ask.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Poole. Thank you. So, Mr. Sochocki, I just have one question and then we'll deliberate. What do you say to your granddaughter when she says to you, Pop, why did you do this to me?
Like I said, I wrote something up. And I'd like to use it if I may.
You may.
What would I say to Abby?
No, please don't say her name. Thank
Yeah.
you. This is live stream for the whole world to see.
All right. I am very, very sorry to have hurt you. I think you of every day and wish I could take that pain away. We used to be so close and now so far apart. I can't blame you for aiding me. And not wanting to see me. I hope that someday you will allow us to meet with a therapist and try to find an understanding and amends. I'm sorry I had to use my writing, but I knew I wouldn't be able to say what I really felt because the emotions would be stepping in. And I may, whenever I get like this, my mind goes blank. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry I had to use.
Well,
my
you need to
notebook.
write it down then, because there will come a time. You know, unfortunately, sir, you have a lot less years to live ahead of you than you had years ago. And at least if you write something down and put it somewhere where when you are, you know, finally expired, that maybe that'll help her heal, because this will be a forever thing for her. There's no words right now that can heal that pain. So give us a few minutes to talk about your case, sir.
Are there any other questions that you
No
have?
more questions. Nope, we're good. Thank you.
Thank you,
Mr. Rodriguez.
Madam Chair. Thank you very much, Mr. Sochocki. Race low, just
Yep.
static 99. Race low, recidivate. But taken positive programming.
Yep.
He's done his short-term sex offender treatment while there. Has 10 years of probation to follow. I would be supportive of his discretionary parole today.
I would as well.
I would as well.
It'll be a little over a year of that supervision that will be able to help him reintegrate, get acclimated to his new life as a sex offender, and hopefully complete the remainder of those 10 years successfully on probation.
Yeah.
So I have no minors, no victim, problem sexual behavior in halfway house, no alcohol.
Alcohol, absolutely.
The victim without parole.
With regard to James Sochocki 440-943, I move that his discretionary parole be granted on or after today's date, October 18th, 2024, with the following conditions in addition to the standard parole conditions. You are to consume no alcoholic beverages. You are to have no contact with the victim of your crime, initials AS, without the parole officer's permission. You'll have no contact with minors without the parole officer's permission. You'll participate in problem sexual behavior treatment in the community, and we'll release you to a halfway house for residential placement. Colleagues, did I say everything?
Yeah.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, you're already seconded.
That's
All right, so Mr. Sochocki, we voted you to parole. It's an on or after date. We voted you to parole today, but you're not going to be released today. They have to find some place to put you, okay? Best
All
of
right.
luck, sir.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is there a chance to go to a alcohol house for that?
Well,
Or we don't?
That will be up to the officer that you speak to about your discharge.
Okay,
All
that's
right.
okay.
Good luck to you, sir.
Good luck.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
You too.
This concludes the hearing for James Sochocki 0943. You will receive this in writing, Mr. Sochocki. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
we're ready. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Wells.
Good afternoon.
You're about to begin. Good afternoon. My name is Smellie. Today is Friday, October 18th, 2024, and this is the hearing of the Connecticut Board of Parole. Following board members are present this morning and by stating their names on the record certify they have reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Good afternoon, I'm Panel Member Barry.
Good afternoon, Mike Paul.
Good afternoon, panel member Rodriguez.
Please
Good
state your name and inmate number for the record, sir.
Brian Welch, 297379.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Brian Welch, 297379. He is serving a sentence of 4 years and 5 years special parole to follow for criminal possession of a pistol. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date of February 12th, 2025 at 50%. There's no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. Welch has completed voices, domestic violence, and is in school for barbering and cosmetology. To date, he is on a wait list for anger management, utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system. The offender overall scores for SRT falls within the moderate range of risk for recidivism. Mr. Welch, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole again, sir.
So one of the things I want to say is I in the past I had a hard time accepting taking accountability for my actions, and I feel this time around that I grew a lot mentally, and it shows from the time frame that I've been incarcerated. I've been extremely productive. No DRs, and with that being said, I would also like, if granted parole, I would also like to, further my treatment as far as anger management or what other, resources that, help me, keep this, positive frame of mind, because, I'm not perfect, but the first step to changing, and not repeating those same mistakes is owning up to them, and realizing, that, you affected others by your, the wrong decisions that I made in the past. The lives that I, infected, by, the crimes that I've committed. And I'm just ready to, enter, society, further my education, with barbering. After that, I have plans on, getting my CDL, Class A and hazmat, and like I said, just continuing to, be productive. And, I'm also a father of 2, and, I plan on, being in their lives and, co-parenting with their mom.
Okay. Well, Mr. Welch, we do appreciate that. We want you to be able to co-parent as well, and we're glad to hear that you've really taken some time to work on yourself while you've been there in the facility. You certainly have completed some positive programs. I'm glad to hear you say, maybe I need anger management out in the community.
Yes.
I would agree with that, but I appreciate all that you've offered in that statement. So what we're going to do is ask you some questions. Mr. Pohl is going to start. When we're done with our questions, we'll deliberate, and then we'll give you all the decisions. All right? Okay. Good luck to you, sir. All
Okay.
right.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Mr. Welch.
Good afternoon.
We're there today for criminal possession pistol revolver, right?
Yes.
They found a magazine with 45 caliber rounds, right?
Yes.
So, what were you doing with the gun?
So I received some threats in the community because I was currently staying with my mom at the time. My apartment had caught on fire. So after receiving some threats on Facebook, you know, I happened to purchase a firearm. I knew it was wrong, you know. I mean, reality of it, you don't have, you know, a legal permit to carry. So me being a convicted felon, I shouldn't have had a firearm in the first place. And if I felt that threatened, you know, I should have informed the authorities that, you know, I've been threatened on social media and that I felt the need to carry a firearm. So I want to point that out. I should have never had a firearm. But instead of doing that, I carried the firearm, not with the sense of hurting anyone, but I didn't want to be hurt either. So that was one of the reasons why I carried it, but I never carried it with the mind frame of, you know, hurting someone at all. That was never my intentions.
You know, I believe that. However, you know, I have 4 cases on Monday. People that have been in for half of their lives.
Right.
That didn't really have an intention of doing something with a gun.
Right.
But what would have potentially transpired for you if it did and you pulled that out and somebody died? There goes, I mean, we wouldn't be talking here now I'd be probably long gone before you'd even get a chance to talk to anybody about that.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I mean, that's what we're dealing with. So there's some choices there, you know?
Right. Yes.
How do I at least get myself out of here?
Yeah.
So I don't have to deal with the threats, right?
So can I comment to that?
Go ahead.
So one of the things when I sat down with the parole interviewer, basically, I believe in changing people, places, and things. And the first step is changing my mind frame. And my mind frame now is to never purchase a firearm unless I have a permit to carry. As far as carrying any weapon, in that sense, I couldn't picture me doing it, because if I knew that it would have brought me here, then I just would have went to the authorities.
Right. But, you know, I mean, it did. And it's like, when you look at that and you look at your criminal history,
Right.
it's kind of like, it's, you know, really concerning when we're sitting here, right?
Right. Right.
So that's what you need to take a look at, right?
Right.
So the places might be something for you to look at, right?
Right. Yes.
So you don't wind up
Back in here. Yeah.
So I see that, you know, you said that there were no tickets. The tickets that you got was during your pre-sentence time for an intox, right?
Yes. Yes.
Go ahead.
So I basically, I have a child that I haven't seen in, well, now will be 5 years, which is my second daughter. And I was in the process of, you know, fighting for visitation. So, you know, it was one of those days, somebody, you know, hand me a little bit of marijuana, and, you know, being stupid, thought I'll, you know, light something up, and I got caught about an hour later. You know, I admitted it, you know, right then and there that I did it. You know, nobody put me up to it. And, you know, after that, I never indulged in that again.
Right. It's been over a year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And there isn't anything in there that's any kind of violence.
No.
So that's an important thing to look at. You took DV.
Yes.
Which is a good thing. You know that when you come out, there's another DV requirement in the community. right?
Okay.
To complete the whole program,
Yes,
right?
yes,
And you took voices.
yes.
So, can you talk to me about voices for a minute? What's a couple of things that you took from that?
So one of the biggest things was accountability. Stop, think before you do anything, before you react to anything, because you have to know that it's going to be an outcome to the bad decision that you make, and it might cost you, your freedom, something that you have to value, and you have to be considerate of others and their actions. Most importantly, that what you do, affects other people, and for you to think otherwise, that's the problem.
Right. And it looks like you've been able to do that.
Yes.
I mean, it's what you've been dealing with right now. It looks like you've been able to deal with that type of behavior, right?
Yes. Right.
And you're in school for barbering, cosmetology.
Yes.
What's going on there? How close are you to?
So my teacher explained to me, he also wrote me up a nice report. He explained to me that the class requires 1,000 hours to complete to get my license. So they have set up where, when I enter the community, where I will leave with whatever hours that I don't get to finish to continue that when I get to, a halfway house or some type of community release, and I have the resources to go about as far as getting the grant to pay for school because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things that I plan on finishing.
And that'll give you a barbering license, or
yes, and well, basically this is barber / cosmetology. That's why it's 2 years.
So you could come out here and you're going to be a miracle worker?
Yeah, yeah. This is a skill, a trait that I said that I will always have with me.
That it is.
And in the meantime, you've worked at Macy's warehouse before, right?
Yes.
And you have the opportunity to go back?
Yes. My old boss, I don't know if you guys usually go that length to reach out, but his name is Greg Uren. U-R-E-N.
Okay.
Yeah, good dude.
And you want to go to a halfway house where?
Definitely not New Haven, where I committed this crime. I was looking forward to Harford.
And I saw a couple of your recent offenses. What's the status of your license right now?
My license?
Yeah.
You mean my driver's license?
Yeah.
So basically I need to pay the fine so I can get my permit, because you have to get a permit before you get your driver's license.
Okay, so
So
you don't have you haven't had a license before?
no.
Or is it's expired?
No, I never had a driver's license, no.
Okay. That's all I really wanted to know. So let's see if other board members have anything.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cole. Mr. Rodriguez.
I don't have anything, Madam Chair.
Neither do I, Mr. Welch. I'm glad that you're pursuing the barber. Let me tell you, as a mother of a male child, he hates when I cut his hair because I have no skills whatsoever, but I just shave it down and let it go. I had to find a professional though, so I'm glad that you're pursuing that. And give us a few minutes to talk about your case, and we will get back to you. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Poole.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, anytime we have an offense that involves a gun, it's concerning. The gun in this case wasn't used. And certainly when, it involved flight, so we knew that, he knew better,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Of course he did.
You know, he rates out moderate. History is what his concern is with the instruments that we use. His only DR came in pre-sentence, which was an intox ticket, and he took responsibility for it. Hasn't had any kind of violent DR during this incarceration, or since sentencing hasn't had a DR. He completed domestic violence and voices. He's been in school for barbering and cosmetology, and not only that, has a plan on how to continue to develop that when he's in the community. He wants to go to a halfway house nowhere near where this offense occurred. Gets the opportunity to with Mason's Warehouse as well. He got special follow. I think he's done okay here, and I would support giving him discretionary parole prior to his special parole.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Poole. So I agree with you that he has absolutely taken advantage of this period of incarceration. He's put in some really hard work, and he's trying to turn his life around. My issue with his file is that although he was in possession of this firearm, it's my understanding that he has an assault one where he did utilize that in his history, and I think that's where I'm trumped up, well, not trumped up, but bumped up. Like, I don't know what the right word is, but anyway, like that's my hiccup. How about that? That's the right word. That his criminal history is so bad. It's so bad. I mean, and each of these offenses are extremely violent. I mean, just the things that he said, and a lot of his charges were nollied. And that does not negate the fact that Mr. Welch sounds great. He's doing great. And I really do hope that he finishes pursuing what he's doing while he's in the facility out in the community. But because of his criminal history, I cannot support his discretionary parole. That coupled with the nature of this offense is too much for me to overlook. So, Mr. Vazquez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, guys, I'm in the same place. I have a lot of thought with his prior history. Saw ones, and there's a kidnapping charge in there. I mean, there's, you know, quite a few charges that very much concern me. I agree that he's done good programming, some positive programming. Seems to be on the right track of wanting to get his life together, which I think is, you know, important in this particular case. But I am stuck with the fact that he's got this tremendous history and the gun, and the charge is a gun charge.
So, just to interject into that, the kidnap that you just brought up was a kidnap 2, and it was 20 years ago. The assault one that was brought up was 15 years ago. You know, and since then, he was discharged time served in 2014, which was 10 years ago, and hasn't had any conviction for violence in the last 10 years. So he's been in the community, and he's had the opportunity to commit a violent offense, and he hasn't done it.
I mean, like he didn't have to use the gun for it. That he was being threatened.
Well, not only that, but he did use a firearm before. So, I mean, that's my point with the being in possession of another one. However, even with the March 11 conviction for the threatening, well, that case was now, but the behavior itself is still what concerns me. That his mom had a restraining order against him, and the threats that he made towards her are there. It's just concerning that there is no limit to the people that that will, that can be in his wrath. And I mean, I understand why you support. He presented wonderfully.
Yeah,
He
presents
answered
He does.
beautifully.
Well.
He has a plan and all. I recognize all that. But for me, I really just think it's too much of a risk to say yes, especially when he has special parole to follow his sentence and he'll have an opportunity to prove himself on that. And perhaps maybe I'll be on the panel to terminate his special parole early. But for discretionary parole, for me, it's enough.
It's also enough for me too.
So special parole conditions. Please don't say the name. LH. Is that your mom?
Yeah,
LH.
yes.
Okay. And does she still have a restraining order?
No, I don't believe so, no.
So I would do that one just without the parole officer's permission because she was a victim. I know he has his mom, his children, his brothers. Just get permission, and then halfway house, and I also have management. Anything else?
You had anger management on top of DV.
I didn't put DV.
He did DV inside.
Wow. No.
So if,
Well, then we'll have to do DV then,
right,
because it's the
because
second
that's the
part.
full.
Yeah, halfway house, DV, and
No contact.
no. Okay. So with regard to Byron Welch, 297379, I move that his discretionary parole be denied based on his criminal history and the nature and circumstance of his offense. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
No,
So again, Mr. Welch, this is a majority decision to deny your discretionary parole. However,
Okay.
you do have the 5 years of special parole to follow your sentence, to which the following conditions will apply. So I move to set the following conditions: no contact with LH without the parole officer's permission, halfway house for residential placement, and domestic violence in the community. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Mr. Paul, you okay with the conditions?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so Mr. Welch, you'll receive all of this in writing. And listen, I challenge you to prove me wrong. I say that all the time. Every single person that sits there, we can't always give them the opportunity that they're asking for, but you do have an opportunity to say, I'm going to prove that lady wrong. And I think you can do it. In fact, I hope that you do it. Good luck, sir.
Thank you.
This concludes the hearing for Brian Welch, 297379.
you might.
I miss you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you, Officer Williams.
Bye, Brianna.
Bye-bye. Good afternoon. My name is Parole Officer Smellie. Today's Friday, October 18, 2024. And the board members for this case reviews are,
Panel member Barry.
Mike Paul.
Councilmember Rodriguez.
this is a case review for Kyle Daniels, 380907. Parole and Community Services has requested that the following conditions be added. Halfway house placement stipulations to be added. At this time, the panel will now deliberate and provide their decision for the record.
Thank you. Are there any objections to adding the halfway house? It's my understanding that he has no sponsor or needs it. So with regard to Mr. Daniels, 380907, I move to add the halfway house per the field condition request. Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
This concludes the case review for Kyle Daniels, 380907. We're going off the record. Good afternoon. My name is Parole Officer Smellie. Today's Friday, October 18th. The board members for this case reviews are
Panel Member Berry.
Light bulb.
Panel Member Rodriguez.
this is a case review for Alan Oates, 325582. Parole and Community Services has requested that the following conditions be added: no pornography and no contact with minors added. At this time, the panel will now deliberate and provide their decision for the record.
Thank you. So it's my understanding that in a confidential report provided that they're requesting these conditions be added, and I have no
problem.
Okay, I move to add the no contact with minors without the full officer's permission and a porn restriction on Mr. Oaks 325582. Is there? Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
For the case review for Alan Oates, 325582, and we're now voting. Good afternoon. My name is Parole Officer Smellie. Today's Friday, October 18th, 2024. Board members for this case reviews are
Panel Member Berry.
Light bulb.
Panel Member Rodriguez.
this is a case review for Miguel Perez, 399831. Parole and Community Services has requested that the following conditions be added: no general no contact for YG be added. At this time, the panel will now deliberate and provide their decision for the record.
Thank you. After review of these documents provided by Parole and Community Services, it seems as if this young man was arrested for a new domestic with this victim, YG. And also, I know that they said that he's in like an aversion program, I guess, for domestic violence. But I'm going to add our condition of domestic violence as well. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Or there? It's like a diversionary program.
But did he? So I don't know that I would add a full. Could we ask the field if they want the DV program first? Because if they are doing a diversionary program, a disorderly conduct is a disorderly conduct. It's not an assault 3. Should we ask the field before we put on a full 12-week domestic violence program on top of what they're doing for him already?
I understand what you're saying. I'm just like, are we being neglectful in our not adding it, you know? But
I don't hear them asking for it. I hear them asking for us to.
yeah, I know. Yeah, but there are a lot of stuff they don't ask us for,
Yeah,
but
no,
okay. So we'll just add it. No, we'll add it and we can ask.
Can we ask, and then if they want the DV program,
Yeah.
we'll put it on.
Yeah. So you won't be able to do it. We'll just add the condition now, and then I don't know, like do you have a comment section in the bottom of that? General comments. So in your dispo where you can say, I don't know. We'll talk about it.
So we're just gonna do.
So just that.
Yes.
Contact.
Yeah, and we'll just wait. If they want us to add it, then we'll add it later. They'll bring it back. I don't want it to be like as if it was an oversight on our part, because it may have been an oversight on their part. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how to note it so but that's okay. So with regard to Miguel Perez 399831, I move to add the no contact with YG, who's a victim of this domestic. Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
This concludes 399-831. Now we're going on the record.
Yeah, I don't know how to add that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I know that you guys have limits.
Good afternoon. My name is Parole Officer Smellie. Today, Friday, October 18, 2024. This is the case review hearing to set special parole stipulations for Mr. Keith Stevenson, inmate number 114534. Board members, please state your names for the record.
Panel Member Barry.
Michael.
By Panel Rodriguez.
Thank you. It's my understanding that Mr. Stevenson has waived his discretionary parole and he has 4 years of fast parole to follow his incarceration. I have no contact with a JB, domestic violence, no alcohol, and a halfway house if needed.
I also had a mental health evaluation and treatment as deemed necessary based upon the description of some of these events.
Okay.
And
That
he
would help.
didn't, he didn't like submit to any kind of evaluation
Yeah.
here that would help us.
Well, we don't know either
Right.
because the officer doesn't still, anyway. So with regard to Keith Stevenson, 114534, I move to set the following special parole conditions and accept his waiver. He's to consume no alcoholic beverages. He's to have no contact with the victim of his crimes. And its initials JB, domestic violence in the community, mental health evaluation and treatment as deemed necessary in a halfway house should he need residential placement.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
This concludes the case review for Stephen Anderson, 301. I apologize, 114534. This concludes the hearing for today at 19 p.m.
You want to give me your forms? Let me double check mine.